Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spawn Trap Podcast, the only podcast where you don't have to worry about us talking about how much we love our cats whenever you bring up the topic of abortion. I am Til. I'm joined by Court here,
What's up?
and that is a topic that we have. It is related to the podcast. We will run back to it.
Oh
Um,
boy.
but we've done. When was our last podcast? It wasn't that long ago, right?
Yeah, I feel like it was March.
I mean, that's not too bad given, some of our track record.
Yeah.
um, the reason why we're doing a podcast now is because we got Summer Game Fest happening soon, and we have a 3-page doc of links for topics right now. So
Yes.
it's like we're not gonna have any time to talk about this stuff. It's gonna be swept under the rug because of Summer Game Fest. And I'll be honest, I think the majority of this podcast we're gonna be talking about Summer Game Fest, what we expect, what our plans are, what I don't know, what we think is gonna happen. Are you
It's gonna
excited?
be it's gonna be a different year, like, because it's without E3, but Summer Game Fest was probably my favorite part of E3.
E3 sucked.
E3's
E3 itself, like the actual show that they were putting on, which
why?
you got to remember, like, oh, Xbox had their thing, and whoever else had their thing. Yes, but that wasn't completely part of E3. They were still separate things. E3 had its own show that they were putting off and
Yeah.
everything, and it was awful. It was a huge waste of time, in my opinion. We tried to react to everything that we could,
Yeah.
and oh my god, it drained me. Like this.
It's, some of the stuff is always needless. Like, well, I remember last year, probably the biggest, like, and it was one of my favorite, which is Square Enix. Like, but that showcase was just Guardians of the Galaxy gameplay and stuff.
Yeah,
And
there was that Final Fantasy game which looked weird. Like
yeah,
it didn't look
like
like a Final Fantasy game, but it had
I'm
the
like, did it
title.
actually come? Where's my toast book? Where it was my game book that I wrote all the games in.
I think it came out. I
Yeah,
don't pay attention to Final Fantasy games though, so I could be wrong.
yeah. I only know Strangers of Paradise because I hear it 48 times a day. So
Yeah, I remember not liking, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy announcement got me excited. I really liked that, but otherwise, I don't think there's anything that really stood out to me from that Square Enix conference.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, like, I was excited for Life is Strange,
mhm.
and it was just the same trailer that I had seen before, so it wasn't
Yeah,
anything
and
special. It wasn't
that's the thing. Like a lot of the games, there's so many showcases, and there's such like time filler that they had to have that we've seen some games. We've seen the same trailer like 4 or 5 times across
yeah,
like multiple showcases, and it was unnecessary. Like we've already
yeah.
seen this
Oh,
announcement,
I'm like, shit. Like, what game was it where it was like we constantly kept seeing it?
but there's a few of them. I think like I don't remember offhand, but I'm sure you could go back to. We have all those streams archived, so you could probably go back and
Yeah,
watch. Um, hey, we are live on Twitch. We don't normally do these podcasts live, but we just
yeah,
decided to. It's also a means to test everything here to make sure it is working for Summer Game Fest. So it's
yeah.
just
It's-
just good planning, I guess. Um,
yeah.
Here's what we have going on though. Now this isn't the Summer Game Fest schedule. If you go to summergamefest.com, don't quote me on that. They'll have
It's not it. I'm just kidding.
they'll have their official. It is a Canadian. Jeff Keighley's Canadian, so
Yeah, isn't he out here?
yeah, he's in
West Coast.
BC.
He's in Electric Playground, isn't he?
No, he's not. He did work for
Oh,
Electric
no.
Playground for a while though.
Yes. Okay.
Back then I think it was called. I don't think it was called Electric Playground. I think it was called something else. But that's a long time ago. It's like early as his early career. Um,
Yeah.
But if you go to their website, they have a like Google Calendar and all this stuff of events that they're going to be hosting. a lot of this stuff is not part of Summer Game Fest, but they happen around the same time. You know, it's the E3 Summer Game Fest week where you're seeing,
Yeah.
or the weekend mostly, but where you're seeing most of these announcements. And because of, you know, at the start of COVID, these publishers are like, you know what? We don't actually need E3. We can do our own thing, and we don't have to do it in that week. We can have it whenever we want in the summer. And we're already seeing that this year. THQ Nordic announced that they're going to have a showcase in August. So that's way away from everything else. And I imagine other publishers are going to have the same thing here.
Yeah, makes sense. Wholesome Direct is at Nintendo?
No, I think you missed last year's. It's so there's a company called Wholesome Games. I think they're a publisher, actually. And it's just they're showcasing their games. And it really does live up to the name. They are games that are wholesome. So
Yeah, excellent.
If you want some wholesome games, that's the direct to watch. But yeah, the entirety of June 11th there, our schedule. So I have our schedule up on screen if you're not if you're listening and you're not watching the video podcast. So we have June 9th is the actual Summer Game Fest. We're going to be able to watch live and react to that. So you can react, or you can watch with us while we react to the Summer Game Fest on our Twitch, which is twitch.tv/SpawnTrapGames. I think we should be able to stream live to YouTube. We might be streaming live to YouTube right now. I'm not 100%.
You're like, I don't know. We could be.
There's so many technical difficulties
It's a
as we're starting.
surprise.
Yeah, I couldn't check for sure. But we do have the Twitch chat monitor, not YouTube. So I'm sorry if you're typing anything and I'm not responding.
Time to spam.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so June 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern is the Summer Game Fest.
Is that the intro of the Summer Games Fest where they're like the day one?
Yes, that is day one. That is the showcase. Like that's the that's the kickoff event.
I have that day off, so.
Which I want to say is probably going to be about 2-3 hours. That's usually Jeff Keighley's thing. He wants to put on a big show. I don't know if anything else is happening that day. By the way, this is just, you know, preliminary schedule because a lot of these publishers want to announce stuff at the last minute. So we don't know what PlayStation's doing. We don't know what Nintendo's doing. We don't know what Ubisoft is doing. We don't know what... well, we do know what EA is doing. They're not doing anything this year. So they confirm that.
I don't have a great opinion on that. Anyways.
So yeah, stuff can be announced last minute. I will say we are not guaranteed to be able to react to stuff that's announced last minute or going forward if it's not on this list. So it's going to be tough. I mean, if it's big stuff like Nintendo, we will try to reorganize and do some sort of recording after the fact if we can't react to it live.
Yeah.
But it's all as we go. It was a tough year for us to organize this. So June 11 is all this stuff is actually happening in the morning. So the time frame that we have here is not when those events are live. So you could watch those things live in the morning.
Be doing it right after.
Yeah, well, not right after. They're in the morning. We're going to be streaming at night. So we'll be late at night. If you missed it or you want to watch it again and want to see what we think, we're going to be reacting to the Guerrilla Collective, Wholesome Direct, and Future Game Show, which I think when they're live, they're going to be back to back, but we're going to be watching them back to back anyway because it's all going to be on demand for us. So, and we have planned for 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern on that day. So we will try to keep to that. And again, if anything else is announced to be showcased that day, we'll try to fit it in, or we'll remove one of these because I probably don't want to watch Future Game Show. If I remember from last year, it wasn't worth watching. But I don't know.
Yeah.
And speaking of not worth watching, not yet, but at the end of this, on June 12th, first of all, we have the big one, the one that I do want to watch. This is, the one of the big two things that are announced here, and all this other stuff I don't really, whatever. But it's the Xbox Bethesda showcase, which I think is 2.5 hours, because I think it bleeds right into what we don't want to watch, which is the PC game show. Because I don't know if you remember from last year, Court. I don't. Did you do the PC game show? I can't remember.
I
think you did.
I think I did, and I wasn't impressed. I was like,
It was long.
yeah. I remember at one point I was like, "Can I go now?" Like,
here's the thing, though. This is one of those situations where it was so long, and they try to put on like this, like, we're gonna be cool and be funny, and it's not. It's not presented that way. It's like just show the games, which it's funny. We're gonna be coming off of Xbox, which they have their flow down. They're like games, back to back, right?
Game Pass.
Yeah, and PC gaming show is more traditional. It's like, let's put on a quirky show and talk about stuff, and and it was so boring and like fleshed out, where they made it way too long. And the games that were showcased, we already seen in the Summer Game Fest, in the Guerrilla Collective, in the Future Game Show. Thank God we don't have an announcement for Upload VR yet, because if they're doing one, we're probably going to be seeing even more of the same games during that. But I'm glad that they haven't announced anything yet, so I don't think they're doing anything this year. But yeah, so we're going to be coming off of like a really good like presentation that we always
and we're going to hope that they change their tune.
But we're going to be coming off the high of Xbox and just dropping right down to PC gaming show. But as miserable as we might be watching it, we still might have a fun time and make for good content. So, because I remember a lot of the stuff that we were angry with, I think made for some good reaction. So,
yeah.
Oh, by the way, that's 10 a.m. Pacific for Xbox, 1 p.m. Eastern, and then PC gaming show is 12:30. That should say p.m. Sorry, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, and 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So
yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time.
Mm-hmm. So
it'll be fun.
Let's before we go on to our main topic, like, what are you most looking forward to for the summer?
Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh shoot! Yeah, Warner Brothers isn't doing thank God, because they had a terrible presence last year too. Yeah. Do you think we'll see Hogwarts Legacy stuff at the Summer Game Fest?
I mean, they did come out with a pretty detailed trailer like a few months ago, or like a little bit ago, and then but I don't know, I want a little bit more like about like what it's about and stuff. But I don't know, like I'm really getting into indie games, so I want to see like just Witchbrook. I want to see Spirit Tea. I'm like Chucklefish. Yeah, let's go. But or maybe another Life is Strange, from Square Enix, if they do a presentation, or more on the new Pokemon games and stuff for like a Nintendo Direct, because that's expected to come out this year, right? The new Pokemon games?
It is, I think, around the same time as the other Pokemon games, which is around the fall.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
And more like, and then I am interested in seeing the new God of War Ragnarok to kind of see.
I don't know if we're going to see anything on that this year.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, this is where I get to see games that are coming out that I can get excited for and be like, oh, I totally want to buy this game, or I totally want to play it. So,
and that's the thing, like the thing to be most excited for is what we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I want to see some stuff about things I already know, maybe Final Fantasy Online, more new stuff, like, and then but mainly I want to see new games that I can get excited for and want to play for 2023 or something.
I
So
I want to say I'm excited for Nintendo, but again, we don't know what they're doing yet.
yeah,
So, but the moment they say, "Hey, we're gonna have a Nintendo Direct," I'm gonna be like, "Fuck yeah!" Because
yeah,
there's gonna be some great
right.
stuff.
5 o'clock in the morning, let's go! Because it's always so early.
um,
I'm
place.
glad I didn't wake up early for that indie showcase. I watched some of it and I was like, I'm glad I didn't wake up for this.
I like a couple of the games that they announced, so I'm looking forward to playing those. But um, PlayStation, I would be surprised if they have a showcase this year because all the big name stuff that we know about has already been released, like earlier this year, or
Yeah.
has been delayed. So I don't know if they really have anything to show off. I don't know what their big holiday game is going to be this year. Like what's going to be what's going to drive the sales. Actually, like do they even have PlayStations available now? I'm not
Yes.
the one that's okay. So people can
Can confirm, yes.
okay. So you can get a PS5 now. Okay.
Yes. It's still it's not a lot, but it's they fixed the chip shortage. It's more frequent, but there still are bundles with the PS5, which people are still ticked off about, but again, it's Sony's
hmm
bundle. But they're like Horizon Forbidden West, you have to play this game, we're just gonna make you. So
I mean, that's not a
uh,
bad game to bundle with
yeah. Um but I think I'm like I'm trying to think through the list of upcoming games that I've like,
for PlayStation.
like that I see all the time.
Yeah.
Um and now it's like I always like draw blanks. I'm like, what's a new upcoming game? I'm like, I don't know. You work here. What do you mean? But I think one of the more popular ones is uh query, the query. I don't know if you've heard about that game.
No.
And then the other one would be Forspoken.
Yep. Is
That's a and
that still coming out? This is that coming
Yeah,
out
so
this year?
it got delayed. It
It
got
did. Okay.
delayed a bunch of times. Yeah, so God forbid the amount of times I've heard that fucking trailer too, man. I'm like trying to recall like all the trailers that I've had to like listen to. Um but there's also the new it wasn't Strangers of Paradise. It was a new Final Fantasy that they were supposed to come out with, like Final Fantasy 16. So I almost feel like that's going to be a really big kicker. And then also Kingdom Hearts, the new Kingdom Hearts, like they came out with that. So that's another thing maybe they'll like present or something. But I think maybe Sony's going to do kind of like what Xbox did and talk about their like online subscription because they just recently
Yeah.
changed it, didn't they? So
Yeah,
now they're
which
like,
it's
okay, now,
launching. That's one of our topics actually. It's launching in the beginning of June, I think.
yeah. So like that would be perfect for them to really push that. I don't know if we talked about it last time, but how I felt that Xbox kind of had a is it a propaganda? Is that what that? Yeah, where with because it was just ironic where we watched E3 last year and we watched the Xbox game show and they literally were pushing their Game Pass left and right, being like, you
hmm
get this on day one, this brand
Yeah,
new game, you get this on day one.
that's what
Yeah,
they're
like they're
selling.
like,
They're selling
yeah,
Game
they're just
Pass.
right.
Yeah.
So, but then when the new consoles came out, you couldn't get a Series X anywhere. But they're like,
That
but we
didn't
have
matter.
the
Yeah.
digital. No, no, no. But they were like, but we have digital. You can just get digital. I'm like,
Yep.
so what you're saying is that you've pushed the Game Pass to get digital games, and then the only new console that I can get is your digital only?
hmm
What are you trying to do, Xbox?
They don't. I mean, that's their like Xbox is in a different playing field than PlayStation right now. And
Yeah.
they don't
It's
see like I think for all of these companies, Nintendo included, they don't see each other as competition and they've said this and like the higher ups, CEOs and stuff like this in interviews, they've said this, but like they don't see themselves as competition. They see other devices as or other brands as competition. Amazon, Apple, Google, like those are
yeah.
their competition because it's trying to get your attention, right? That's taking you away from games and having stuff at your convenience, mobile games, all that stuff. Um,
I still don't see the appeal in mobile games. I just can't.
well,
It's
um,
weird. I'm such a gamer, but like for God forbid for
but
me to
it's
have a
like
game in the palm of my hand.
you're on your phone a lot, right?
No, well, kind of. I waste a lot of time on TikTok now.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
like,
So like
yeah.
TikTok has more of your attention than Xbox at times, you know?
Um,
So it's like they're not selling the game console and the games. I mean the games for the most part, but it's their subscription. It's
I
however
guess
many
yeah, I
people
guess
get
it's
onto Game Pass.
yeah, I guess that would be what the
Yeah.
like, because the biggest thing too, I remember talking to reps and stuff like that about, especially with Xbox and their subscription basis, like where's the money that they're really making? Because if you don't get
Hmm.
digital or if you don't get physical, then there's like money lost, and if it's digital and
Yeah.
hi local talent, and it's like,
What up,
but it's
Jordan?
like the subscription of you paying every month, and that's where they're getting a lot of the money, because they're like, you can have like access to all these games. But yeah, it's about keeping your attention. Where an example would be Netflix. Like, how many years have you had Netflix for now,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah, and that's
And
another thing.
it's and so you have to look at the long run of the longevity of the amount of money that you've probably put into Netflix.
Hmm.
And then so I'm like, so that makes sense. The like, so you basically, they're paying for our attention. So
Yeah,
I get it now. It all
yeah,
makes
it's
sense.
you know, and I mean they're trying to be like Netflix of games, pretty much. But yeah, that is a question. How do they make their money? And
Mhm.
it's weird because their official response to it is, "We're Microsoft. Don't worry about it." So,
Yeah,
so,
they
so like it doesn't
they
matter if we lose money. We're Microsoft. I'm like, that's a weird response.
yeah, they're like,
Um,
we punch babies for fun. Don't worry, we're Microsoft.
I don't think that's true. um, but yeah, I don't know. For me, I do see the value of Game Pass. Um, because it is weird when you think when you've grown up with games, like we have,
Yeah.
and you're used, like, this is a new era of games and how you play games. Um, and when you think of the traditional way we get games and play them and everything, this is such a shock, like such a change. But it's not really, because again, we have Netflix, and we have mobile devices and all this stuff, so we're kind of used to the subscription model and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's somewhat new for the gaming industry. Um, so it's weird to say like they're not selling games, they're selling a subscription, and that sounds like a turnoff. But for me, I'm like, it's a huge value because the amount of money you put in the Game Pass, if you're playing like a small handful of those games, like you're not buying those games, you're just playing them off the subscription. It pays for itself, and you have all these other features and all these other games at your disposal and stuff that you can discover that you probably wouldn't have otherwise because you wouldn't have paid for them. Um,
Yeah. It's kind of like what Blockbuster could have been.
if they went
Because
with
you
a
would rent
subscription
games.
route,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, right? But that's what Netflix did,
that's what
right?
Netflix became. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and they
But
killed Blockbuster. So that's
yeah, and but it was interesting because I remember telling my dad about Netflix,
Mhm.
and um I think this was, I didn't like the mail delivery thing, like that was like super weird and stuff. But I think it was
Which I
right
think
after
they
they kind
still
of changed.
do.
Like, weird. Here's a VHS. What's that? Um, but I remember telling my parents initially about Netflix and just being like, yeah, like there's just all these movies and stuff like that. So instead of us going to Rogers Video
Hmm.
and renting these things, everything's just here and we can just pick and choose what we want. And my dad was like, he was really against it at first because he's like, well, I don't want to watch any of these things. I'm like, well, like they're obviously going to be like adding to their life. Like this isn't just like that this is what you get,
Yeah.
But it was very like interesting how he was against it. And then even when we initially finally got Netflix, my dad's like, okay, now I can watch my Corner Gas a million times a day,
Yeah.
and
You get those
and that's
like
it, you know.
background
And
shows that you just
yeah,
always cycle through. Yeah.
and it's interesting because I remember me trying to pick, because it's like when they're at your disposal like that, it almost devalues the show or like the game, and like, because when you kind of go out and you purchase or you rent it and you bring it home, it's like kind of the experience of that you kind of put your money into this, and then you only got a certain amount of days, but then this is like an unlimited amount. So I remember finding it difficult where I would find games or not games, movies
Hmm.
that I've always wanted to watch. But because it was right at my disposal and I didn't have to work for it, I was like, I really don't feel like watching this movie. But then I got broken up with, I was super fucking depressed and shit like that. And I had a lot of spare time on my hands. So I just decided to start watching anime. And it was like, and then you start to kind of go through like, oh, now I can watch this, and you start binging them, and it becomes very like not addictive, but like now you're like binging things because it's like one after another and stuff. So with myself, even with, I have Game Pass, and it's so weird for me to like have these games at my disposal. Like I have Diablo, like the new Diablo that came out
Hmm.
for free,
Yeah.
and I have yet to play it. I'm just like, it's there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm that way too.
so yeah, and I feel like because I didn't grow up with Xbox, that it's hard for me to get into that, like where I can just pick games and play them, and they're at my disposal and all that jazz. So it's definitely a learning curve, and I get where people can be a little bit hesitant, but at the same time it's like once you kind of take yourself out of, buying, like for me, like I like buying physical games. I also like trade them in and stuff like that. When you take yourself out of that and then you can just play these games,
Hmm.
and it's still like a good time, and they're good games, especially like the free games. When I've played free games,
Yeah.
you know, it's like it doesn't devalue them. It just it's for us, it's weird to have something for free or like just kind of there for us to take and use.
Jordan
So
has
we're
um
I'm
Jordan has an anecdote for you in the chat. Um, Speaking of, Jordan will
corner
be
guys.
joining us for the Xbox showcase and probably the PC gaming show. But I'm not
Yeah.
100% on that. Me and Court will be watching for everything, I think. Right? Yeah, it would be me and you for everything.
Yeah.
Um, and then maybe a guest. Um,
Which is icy.
yeah.
Icy arrow.
I didn't want to like say 100% because he's not confirmed, but
Yeah.
um,
Well,
but
now he has to.
now he has to. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
get your butt over
I
here. We're
sold
waiting
him
for you.
out. I sold him out. Uh, but yeah, no. Yeah, my little brother did enjoy Corner Gas. My parents still do. My dad, like, I don't know if I ever told you the story when we ran into Colin Macri in Niagara on the Lake or
Oh,
whatever. I
no.
just happened to see Colin. You know who that is, right?
I don't want to name drop on this podcast. You and
No, no, no,
Jordan
no.
both
It's
do this.
Colin Macri. He's a famous person.
Oh, okay.
It's fine. He's not a real
Oh,
person. The
the
comedian,
comedian?
the
Okay,
Canadian.
okay,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I ran into him. I can't believe I didn't tell you. I have like literally the photo like on my fridge right now.
He's
But
been here a few
basically,
times, I
and
think.
Jordan, you'll like this because it's about my dad too. Um, but I ran into Colin Macri on the street, and I was like, "Holy shit, you're from Whose Line Is It Anyway?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "You're Colin," and he was like, "Yeah," and he has like a milkshake, and he's with his wife, and I was like, "Can I get a picture?" And I was like, "Dad," my dad's like, "Who the fuck is this person?" And
Oh, he didn't
and
know.
so yeah, he had no idea, and then but then I feel like he kind of did, because after like my dad pulled like the typical dad where he put the camera like backwards and upside down. He's like, and I'm like,
Mhm.
stop, like just take the fucking picture, dad.
Yeah.
Like, and then he started chatting, and sure enough, I think Colin did make an appearance on Corner Gas, and my dad's like, he's a conversationalist, so he
Hmm.
started chatting to him about, oh, do you know Brent, like from Corner Gas, da da da, and he's like, yeah, yeah. And then at one point, Colin, like he went to go take a sip of his milkshake. His wife was more talkative than he was, but when he went to go take a sip of his milkshake, a little bit dripped onto his shirt. And my dad, as a dad, took that as the opportunity to be like, hey, you got something on your shirt. and Colin goes to go wipe. He's like, "Oh yeah," looks down at my dad, nose boops him,
Wait,
and I
he did
was
that to your dad, or your dad did that to
my
him?
dad did that to Colin.
Oh my god.
And Colin looks at me and he goes, "He's a real dad." And I'm just like, "Oh, I can't believe you just did that." The entire way home, my dad's like, "Ah, see, even celebrities fall for it." Ha 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 ha. Just like, "Oh my god. I can't believe you did that." Yeah. Just like, yeah. Yeah. So that's my celebrity story. So that's why I don't talk to celebrities ever, because especially if my
Because
dad's around.
your dad might be around the corner,
Yeah,
maybe.
he's like, "I'm gonna get him with a good one."
Uh, back on topic.
Okay, video
Yes,
games.
I'm most looking forward to Xbox. I'm just, me wearing the shirt, which I'm just realizing right now, total coincidence.
I wore
I
my Writers Republic shirt.
Nice.
Friends that slay together, stay together. Also, they go to jail for manslaughter together.
Have you played that game?
No, I have not. I know it was like a free trial,
Yeah,
but
there was a free
again, it was
weekend. I enjoyed it.
yeah, I never got to play it because I listened to it for 48 times a day, and we started quoting it, and we would do the hashtag on Twitter, and
Uh,
my coworker would always make jests about, because I was like, friends that slay together, stay together, and he'd go, actually, they go to like jail for manslaughter together. I'm just like, brilliant.
well, on that topic, there is a rumor that Ubisoft Plus could be coming to Game Pass. So if you wanted to play Riders Republic, it is on
Oh,
Ubisoft Plus. So that is a possibility. And I think it'll be the same situation as EA Play, where you would need Game Pass Ultimate in order to play it. So I would be excited for that, because then I don't have to buy Ubisoft games anymore either. So
nice.
that's the thing for me. So like Game Pass, so Xbox, their showcase is going to be mostly Game Pass games. Everything, like almost all the games that you see back to back, is going to say it's coming to Xbox. We might start seeing less of the Xbox One titles, and they'll be like exclusive to Series X and S, or PC. But almost all of them are probably going to say day one on Game Pass or coming to Game Pass. There's going to be some sort of Game Pass integration with it at some point. So that's exciting for me, because I'm watching a showcase. I'm like, look at all the games I'm going to be able to play for free, or with my subscription for the rest of the year. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But also like stuff that we just like the stuff that we kind of know about, like Fable. There's
Oh my god.
I'm trying to think of the other games, because I was like the other day I was just thinking off the top of my head. I'm like, oh yeah, we don't know about this game yet. Oh yeah, we haven't seen this game yet. So and off the top of my head right now, I'm just thinking about Fable. So I think that's on the
Yeah.
top of my mind right now. So that's the thing I'm
I
most looking
would
forward to.
I would love to play Fable like remastered or something like that.
We should play
Like,
Fable 2 is co-op.
is it?
Yeah,
No, I want to play the first one. I want to have
I never
choices
played the
and
first
make
one.
my own
But Fable
decisions.
2 has choices. That's the whole core concept of the franchise.
Yeah.
Just don't play Fable 3,
Why?
because it's the worst.
It's the why. Whatever. You know what? I was told Suikoden 5 was the worst of the Suikodens, and it is my favorite. Mind you, it was the only Suikoden that I played, but I loved it anyway.
Fable 3 was okay, but the path that I chose, there was no post game, because of the path I chose.
Did you
It's like,
choose the
well, I
easy
want to
route?
do it wasn't so much about evil or good. It was about what kind of king that you wanted to be.
Oh, interesting.
Um yeah, I mean it's an interesting concept, but if you did things a certain way, you couldn't do things after the game was over. Like, okay, well, I want to do this. It's like, well, you can't, because you fucked up. I'm like, all right, whatever. So basically, you have to like start the game over and do it.
Consequences of your actions.
Yeah, I guess, but then that means I can't play the game anymore.
That's life, Till. Yeah, well, maybe you should have chose different.
Yeah. Um, but also, I just feel like Fable 2 had much more content. It was much more addictive, and there was actually things that you could do after the game that you could still explore around and do stuff. Um, So I just think Fable 2 is much better. I actually never played the first Fable because I never had
So,
an original Xbox. I started with the Xbox 360. But I love that
they
game.
need to come up with Jet Set Radio Future. That's what they need to do.
I heard
They need
something
to
about
do
that
it.
game recently, so maybe that's
There was a
in the
thing on
cards.
Steam where there was a game that was basically inspired by Jet Set Radio
Hmm.
Future, but it still hasn't come out yet.
Oh, that
So
hasn't
I'm
come out yet.
hoping.
I know about
No,
that game.
it's on my wish list. It's on my wish list, and I'm like, I want this game
I thought I heard a
because, like,
rumor about Jet Set Radio something, like maybe like a
yeah,
remake or something.
yeah. It was basically a remake, but yeah, it was on Steam,
Yeah.
and it was basically Jet Set Radio Future, but just different. But it was still the same. That was such a good
Is
game.
it that
So
we haven't seen that game come up like remade or remastered or anything or
no,
re-released because of licensed music, right? It's
I,
usually how those
maybe
it's
is
usually a
that when
licensing
it's
issue.
happening? Well, that's what happened with like the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. Was
Hmm.
that why it took a little bit longer for it to come out for Switch
They
because
have
of
to
the
change
licensed
music.
music on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually the case
So
for like why can't I see this old game? It's like, well, it's either the music or it's using licensed IP or the
mm,
licenses changed rights. Like who
yeah,
owns the rights? That's why you can't see like older, like let's say for an example, older Batman games that people like. You don't see those get re-released because, um, because the person doesn't have the rights anymore.
yeah, because usually those are like
Hmm.
contractual basis. I'm assuming, and then it's like
Yeah.
this is mine now.
So, anyways, I'm
But
most
yeah,
looking forward to Xbox, and then hopefully Nintendo announces something. But we're gonna be doing
yeah,
that all in the beginning of June, the weekend of June 9th. I know June 9th is
yeah,
the start date. So yeah, we'll be streaming it here on twitch.tv/SpawnTrapGames. If you want to
yeah.
follow, turn on notifications so you know when we go live. That way you don't miss it.
Right.
Um,
I'm gonna quickly grab another refreshment before we
okay,
start with the actual gaming news.
okay. I
Yeah,
was
I'm
I was
just
gonna
like,
jump right into this,
yeah. Let me
but
wet my whistle.
I will hold off on something.
Yeah. Okay. B. Hold on.
Okay, so we brought up a topic, and I was gonna mention it, but we kind of got sidetracked there. Court had mentioned. I actually have a single cam set up. Court had mentioned that Xbox was selling the Series S instead of the Series X because the X was not available, just so that they could get consoles into people's hands and to sell Game Pass, which I think was a great strategy. It's interesting. I read a story recently, and I didn't have it in the notes here, so I can't pull it up. But I remember reading that like most recently, the Xbox Series S had finally like outsold PlayStation 5 or something. Um, and that's just not globally. Sorry, I should have clarified. In Japan. So Xbox does not sell in Japan. PlayStation, Nintendo, they sell no problem. But it's a combination of the shortages for PlayStation 5 and the availability of the Xbox Series S in that like cheap price point where it's like, well, I can't get a next gen console, but this one's cheap and it comes with like a month of Game Pass or whatever. So I guess I'll play that to play the game I want to play. Um, that's just because PS5 is so hard to get. Yeah, so it's a combination of that and because the Series S is available and it's cheap and it's your gateway into the next gen. But even all that, it's impressive that that's the case in Japan. So, um, anyways, let's get on to our main
Sexual
topic here.
harassment.
Yep, we love talking about sexual harassment here on the Spawn Trap
I think you might want to
podcast.
mirror my webcam
Yeah,
so then that way I'm facing the other way.
I was just about to do that. Yeah.
That's my better side.
If I can find, if I can, the side stays the same. It's just I'm flipping the image.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me make sure I'm clicking the right one here.
I had to give Mushroom another toilet paper roll. She was starting to bang. Look at me. Okay, so let's see. The lawsuit, the story so far.
Yeah, so we are still talking about Activision Blizzard. There are some updates here that we have. And Kiri's in the chat saying called it, damn it,
Damn it,
Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Activision
Yeah, I guess
Blizzard.
this is the first time we're talking about this with chat active as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
So
we are reading. We're not gonna address the chat very often because this is a podcast.
yes.
But yeah, we will read your messages. Anyways, Activision Blizzard settled sexual harassment lawsuit for $18 million. So
That's it.
this is this is, I mean, that's the thing, right? So this is from IGN, taken from the Washington Post. I didn't grab official sources for everything, and some stuff I have the source, but it's behind the paywall, so I'm gonna have to try to find new links for them on the fly. Yeah, according to Washington Post, the U.S. District Judge is prepared to approve an $18 million settlement between Activision Blizzard and the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. This lawsuit is separate from another one from the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. That's where the original lawsuit came from.
Yeah, so that's
what's this
still
one?
going on then.
So they had two sexual harassment lawsuits?
Yeah, because the other one was like the other one's from employment, so it's like instead of from the California State Department, because originally they were being sued by California State, and then this other one is U.S. like Employee Equal Opportunity Commission, or I said that wrong, but like
it says right
so
here
now
at
it's
the bottom.
Yeah, so it's basically or EEOC or something. So basically,
So alongside the DFEH, which is, the original one that we talked about, an unnamed Jane Doe has filed lawsuit against Activision Blizzard over sexual harassment and discrimination. Finally, the company faces a lawsuit from the family of an Activision Blizzard employee who died by. Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Good.
The one who died by suicide.
That was what ignited this, right?
Well,
wasn't it?
I wouldn't say that, but yeah, that was a big thing.
It governed. It was like kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back in a way, right?
That's what got the.
Like a lot of shit where they're like, this is wrong, like this needs to be fixed, like this is just.
If you don't remember that story, basically, was Kotick. I can't remember. Kotick called someone on the phone and was like threatening them.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember the whole. Actually, let's click on it here. I'd say. Yeah, claims that sexual harassment at the company was a significant factor in the death of their daughter. This is from the family. A 32-year-old finance manager at Activision Blizzard who was found dead at an Activision Blizzard company retreat in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Anyways,
okay, so
go check that story out.
That was the initial thing, because that. Yeah, I feel like that was probably one of the biggest things that had kind of set this all into motion and got things going.
So I think I'm going in chronological order here, but
I'm like, what are you click clacking?
Yeah. So next up, Vicarious Visions has merged with Blizzard Entertainment. This was back in April 12. So it's not along the lines of the lawsuit, but this is just another reason why I'm glad Xbox is acquiring Blizzard or Activision Blizzard, because Vicarious Visions makes a lot of fan favorite games. I think they worked on Spyro and some other stuff. And it was announced after they made those games and everything, Activision's like, hey, we're going to send them over to Blizzard. They're going to help work on Blizzard games. Not the games that they want to make, just Blizzard.
Yeah.
And same with, there's another studio where they're like, yeah, they're just going to work on Call of Duty now. And that's pretty much what Activision Blizzard is now. It's like, oh, we're making money off of Call of Duty, like the subscription games or the annualized games, or the games with microtransactions and all this other stuff. So we don't want to make these silly like one-time games that don't make us as much money.
That's like probably the most, like, it's just, again, that's kind of why I started to go away from Blizzard, is because of it's like it's a money grab basically. And almost the same goes for EA as well, where it just gets to a point where you're not putting out good, like, well-loved games. It's just to a point where this is going to sell. And I kind of have the same feelings toward Pokemon, you know? And it's sad how, like, the gaming industry has, like, kind of really become this, when before it was coming out with these new original games and doing all that, and it's just it's poopy.
If you
It's
read
just
through the
poopy.
comments in this tweet, it's everybody saying like my condolences. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Like all they said is
Right?
like we have now fully merged with Blizzard. I don't even know if they needed to say that tweet. Maybe that was sort of like a cry for help, saying like, "Hey, sorry, but they didn't say like this is a bad thing. They just say, follow us on Blizzard." But everyone in the comments is saying like, "Oh man, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that." But yeah, they also worked on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Crash, so like the more recent versions of those. That sucks.
Yeah. I feel like, even, I don't know, the quality of games too, like, that they come out with are just, you can tell that it's just a money grab at this point. Even I remember the new, like, WoW expansion, like, just was shit on. And like, when it comes to quality of games, I mean, you come to games that have these, they just make whatever they want, and that's why the quality. It'd be like, oh well, is this like, oh, like all the Call of Duties, they come out with one all the time, and people are like, oh yeah, it wasn't really that great. It was just like the same old thing. I'm like, yeah, I know, because they know that you're gonna spend money, you're gonna buy it, so why not just keep making the same game for you to just keep giving them their money? Like, it doesn't make any sense, or it doesn't, like, in a money grab type way. But yeah, I don't know. That's why I like playing indie games. You really get to see the passion into a project. Like, hands down, Eastward was by far like one of the best indie games that I've ever played, and that was made by 3 people, and then the team grew to 12, and that was it. And it's like, it is just such a good game, and I'm like, this is why I'm now kind of veering toward indie development and stuff like that, because it's just like, they're just great. So I don't know. It's poop.
Yep.
It's just poop.
I just had to quickly find an alternate source for this story. But we're still on Activision Blizzard. We're almost halfway through the stories that we have here. This is the wrong scene. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh no. So Meta, which is Facebook now, COO Sheryl Sandberg, who's the ex of Bobby Kotick, so they were dating at this time, that on the story that we're reporting on, reportedly urged a British newspaper, which was Daily Mail, to kill reporting about her ex, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick. That's crazy. I feel like that's like the craziest story that nobody's talking about.
Where she's like, stop.
Yeah, Daily Mail was reporting on a temporary restraining order filed against Kotick by a former girlfriend in 2014. Sandberg reached out to the outlet's digital edition, Mail Online, in 2016 and again in 2019 concerning the reporting, sources told the Journal. Sandberg also told the Mail that the former girlfriend dropped the allegations, the Journal reported. It talks about their dating life, who cares? Kotick external advisors and both Facebook and Activision employees were also part of the strategy to steer the Daily Mail away from reporting on the restraining order. The Mail Online never published a story detailing the incident. The parties wanted to stop the report for over fears it could tarnish Sandberg's reputation. Hey, kind of did that yourself now. As
Yeah,
a
right.
crusader
You're
for
like,
women.
whenever
You
you tell
reported.
the internet not to do something or like anything, and they find out that you don't want them to do something,
Yeah.
what happens?
And not only that, so yeah, so now you tarnish your own reputation. Not that there's, a lot going on with this,
Yeah.
but you kind of tarnished Facebook as well. So again, that's a low bar, but when people say like they can't trust
Hey.
Facebook, or they're manipulating the narrative, or changing news stories, or trying to censor stuff, you kind of just exposed that. That's what you were trying to do. So you
Yep.
kind of just like, I don't know, shot yourself in the foot there. Like,
Right?
you could
It
have just dealt with the consequences, but no, you're like, let me make this worse for myself and the company I work for.
Yeah, you're
Do
like,
they have
"Stop,
kids? I
guys,
think
there's no secrets.
I
Stop.
what
There's
these
none,
two?
I swear, there's no secrets."
These two were dating. I don't know if they have kids with each other. I think Bobby Kotick has kids because
What?
he does, because his son he
No.
got into like an agreement with some game developer or something, because his son likes their games or something like that. I can't remember.
Ew, ugh, gross.
No, I mean, it
Children?
was like it kicked off that game being
Oh,
something.
okay.
It's like a little bit more of a wholesome thing, but I don't know anything about their personal lives. Don't ask me. I really don't care.
He
Like
has a family?
this guy can go to hell and be like, fuck off and never be seen again. Like, I don't really care what happens to him.
Yes,
Facebook,
I
that's
can't wait till
expected.
he
Facebook.
GTFOs.
All right, let's move on here. Yeah,
I don't think he
he's.
does. I don't think he has kids.
I'm pretty sure he has kids.
Or
I
they're
think
just
at least he has his son.
there's the only one that popped up was Audrey. Audrey Kotick.
I don't know. Again, I don't care.
I know, yeah. Like, let's get down to it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I care more about the lawsuits and all that stuff. So,
Like, he's just looks like such a piece of shit.
speaking of piece of shit, Gavin Newsom, the California governor, is accused of interfering in Activision Blizzard lawsuit.
I
His
remember
office denied the
this.
claims. Yeah. Allegations were
He's like,
made.
no.
Uh, Allegations were made by Melanie Proctor, assistant chief counsel. I don't trust Gavin Newsom either. So,
Yeah.
everything I've been saying in the past like 10 minutes makes me sound a specific way that I guarantee you I am not.
Yeah.
I because of Gavin Newsom's and the political affiliations and everything. I hate everyone on both sides.
You
Anyways,
hate everyone equally in this.
I hate not just in this, but on the political spectrum as well.
Yeah.
So don't don't worry.
You don't discriminate. You just hate those people equally.
I hate anybody who's a piece of crap. I hate equally. Some more than others,
Yeah.
but
Right? Yeah.
some exceptions.
I just hate when they're like, he's like accused of this, and he's like, no, I didn't do that. Prove
Yeah.
it. I love that shit. It's like, oh, you got a complaint, like you've been doing this, and they say they have proof. You're like, no, I didn't do anything like that. Prove it. Like, they have proof. No, wasn't me. It's just okay.
I'm trying to see why. What was
Well, like,
the
what was he trying to interfere
yeah
with? Well, was like, I it's been a while since I've read these, since I
yeah
think it was in April, or now we're in May now. Wow, almost June. Wow.
doesn't
Um bro, it's almost June.
it,
But
yeah I
yeah,
know
it's I remember reading something, or it might not have been exactly this, but I remember there was people trying to shut down the lawsuits, or they were interfering with it. Or remember, they were trying to get rid of the evidence too. Remember?
yeah.
Like, they were told like to shred the papers of
Hmm.
like any, like, But have they officially unionized now?
One of their development studios has, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like it's all individual. This
I
is
think
like
we
the same
talked
thing
about it
that's
last
going on
time.
with
Oh
Amazon
yeah, no,
too.
it's one
Yeah.
of the stories here. Actually, let's moved on.
Segue into
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Because I don't really see like a reasoning why they're saying that
Yeah, they were
here.
just like,
They're
yeah,
just
he did
accusing him of
this, and he
interfering.
said no.
Yeah.
That's
Um.
the article. We said he did this, and he said no, he
Yeah.
didn't.
U.S. Labor Board judge orders union vote at Activision Studios. So I don't think it's happened. I think it's still ongoing. Um, a regional director for the U.S. National Labor Relations Board on Friday ordered a union election for a group of workers at an Activision Blizzard-owned studio that works on the popular Call of Duty franchise, overruling objectives from the company. In a 27-page decision, Jennifer Hadsall, regional director in Minneapolis, ordered ballots to be mailed to employees on April 29th. Workers will have until May 20th to return their ballots. That was 2 days ago as of recording this.
Yeah.
Or one day.
Oh, and
We're,
then
we're
counting will begin. Yeah.
one day ago for you. it's
Oh.
it's past midnight for
Oh.
me.
How's the future looking today?
It is looking bleak. I'll tell you that. Their counting will
Because
begin
they,
on May 23rd, so we will know soon.
yeah, all right. Her Jennifer. Yeah, because didn't they were like, yeah, you guys can totally do a union. And then it was kind of like this really weird statement that they came out with about people voting for a union. That was kind of super sus. And I think we did talk about that last time
We
where
talked a lot
it
about
was
union
just,
busting
it was,
last
yeah, it
podcast,
was a
yeah.
very interestingly worded statement. They're like, there are consequences, but you have every right to do whatever you want, but there are consequences. It's like, oh no.
This one
But
is from Imran Khan at Fanbyte. It's an interesting one. Activision inexplicably introduces tool to rate character diversity metrics. The tool is meant to aid designing diverse characters, but comes off as mildly dystopian. This is more like, I guess, more like an opinion piece a little bit, but I heard like a summary, like a quick summary about it from Alana Pierce. I did see it from Imran on Twitter first, but I really don't get the point of this.
what were they trying to accomplish? Just like
the
that
the company desperately needs to
Overwatch is
make
diverse?
no. It says so when the company desperately needs to make fundamental changes in how they hire and treat diverse employees and public-facing characters, I'd argue the solution is not making and publicizing a tool that boils diversity design down to predefined metrics. And yet that's kind of what King is doing, according to a blog post published yesterday on Activision Blizzard's website. The thrust is that employees at King, by their own admission, working off hours, created a tool that breaks down character attributes and rates them on how diverse they are. The idea, the post argues, is to guard against unconscious bias and exclusion when it came to the creation of their games and characters. These metrics listed are culture, race, age, cognitive ability, physical ability, body type, facial features / beauty, gender identity, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic background. Using Overwatch characters Anna as the example, she has points in culture, race, age, physical ability, and gender identity. Essentially, the tool seems to start with the idea that a cis heterosexual white male character is the default, and that factors away from that are essentially diversity points, which is a mildly problematic assumption to codify, even if it tends to work out that way in practice. Ideally, decades of bad results should not create a default as much as they should be something to recognize as unnecessarily ubiquitous. So that's more like editorializing from Imran there, but
Okay.
so yeah, it's just a weird internal diversity tool that they have for some reason.
I like
why did our bot time you out, Kiri? Hold on.
because she was using caps too much and 600 seconds.
How do I? How do I? You can talk. You can talk. Or not.
Or not. Timeout 10 minutes.
I don't. Is it unban/unban?
I think so. Oh, I did it. She's good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when it comes to, I don't know, like so basically, I don't know if what they're saying is that they use a tool to create diverse characters when
No, it's
you
to
shouldn't have
like
to.
it's to like determine what diversity points a character has. Like it doesn't seem like this is how they're creating characters. This is like an
Oh,
internal rating system or tool or something.
that's so weird,
I don't get what the point of this is.
right? Because a part of it's just like just make diverse characters, like whatever, like if like I don't like excuse me, good character creation is basically based off of you know, creating lovable slash relatable characters, and you can't just have relatable lovable characters if they're just all of one type, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they're rated based on how diverse they are, kind of like, would that be offensive to those like types of people?
I think
Like, oh,
I don't.
because you're dark skinned lesbian, but you're also a she him, like gender fluid, like you get max points for being diverse. Way to go! Like that. Like I feel like that's a little bit offensive because it's like, I don't,
Yeah, I don't
it's
think
weird. It's weird.
I don't think you need this.
Yeah, it's more discriminating. Yes, exactly. It almost feels like it's more discriminating.
I
So,
get the point. You want to be more inclusive and create characters that represent like a
all forms of
wide
life.
variety of people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that could be playing your games. Um, but it's weird to have a ranking system for them.
Yeah, it
You
like
know?
because it's just it's such a weird like scheme. I don't know. It's when it comes to ranking in any sort of thing, it creates, yeah, it almost makes it a little bit more discriminated. It makes it like it's just too weird for me. It's like if girls were to rate, oh, like how hot this person is, like it's just like, why do you care? Why does it matter?
Mhm.
Like it's just, so when you create how diverse someone is, seems like why does it matter? Just make a character that's relatable to whoever. So
Those are
I
all the
don't know.
updates we have for Activision Blizzard. Like that's
And yeah.
yeah, that's all. I mean, they're gonna try to lay low until the acquisition, which so far has been hard for them to do. But they're going to
Yeah.
at least try. I guess
Yeah.
we'll see. We might still be talking about them up until the acquisition.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like it's slowed down a little bit
mhm.
now that one lawsuit
Oh
is
yeah, we
done.
only had 6 stories this time. So
Yeah, instead of a whole
yeah,
like 2-hour episode of us talking about Activision's lawsuit
let's talk
and
about other
everything.
fun stuff that we've been talking about a lot lately. So, it's acquisition year. It's still happening. Sony or PlayStation Studios has acquired Haven Studios. Um, I'm honestly not too sure what they make. Um, oh yeah, this is the studio from Jade Raymond. I posted her name in your chat
Yes, and
yesterday.
I did follow her. So, yeah,
Um,
I am broadening my horizons and trying to get connected.
oh, this is
So,
her new studio. That's right. Yeah, so she made like a new studio. She's coming off of Stadia. She had a new studio that she's developing with Stadia to make like games for the platform, and Google kind of gave up on Stadia, And she's like,
Yeah.
let me go somewhere where they care about games. And so that's PlayStation now, I guess.
Okay. Who was Mixer with?
The streaming platform?
Yeah.
That was Microsoft.
Okay.
They started as Beam, I think is the website. Then Microsoft acquired them, changed it to Mixer, just so they can have like a platform for like to compete with Twitch. Then realize like a lot of Microsoft products, they can't compete with something that's already dominating the market. So why like they kind of wasted money in trying to get into something that they were too late to. So then they just shut it down.
Facebook gaming is where it's at. I mean, they're trying.
No.
It's like
yeah, that was the other big competitor I was like, at that time.
Yeah, I was just wondering because part of me felt like I was like, oh, was Mixer also a part of Google? But I was like, no, I think they were a bit different. I was like, YouTube. They're just like, oh, this is a dumpster fire. Just slowly back away and just pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, YouTube is Google's platform for gaming content. She has a statement here. I have it on screen. I'm not going to go into it because we have a lot more stories to go through. There is more acquisitions though. I feel like every time we're gonna have this podcast, somebody's gonna be acquiring someone.
It's a chess game now.
Yeah. Remember when Embracer Group acquired Dark Horse Comics? We talked about that last time. Well, they decided to aim a little bit higher and acquire a bunch of Square Enix studios.
What?
And intellectual property. Like, this is huge. And for measly $300
I need to buy that game. Thank you for reminding me. I have to buy that game.
You're welcome. Yeah, $300 million for this. For Crystal
$100 million.
It should have been higher because these are big franchises. So they acquired Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal. So these are mostly Canadian.
Oh no, it's Bully. That's what I want to buy, not
Bully.
Bully.
That's Rockstar.
Yep.
That has nothing to do with this.
Right now.
But maybe also Thief. Yeah, this is huge because this is just a clear symbol, like because
Thief was good though. I remember hearing a lot about it, and it was like. From what it like, there's so many games out there that I feel like fall below the radar, and they're really good games.
Yeah,
like Titanfall.
So these are Western developers. So I feel like Square values their Japanese IP much more than like even Tomb Raider. Like they sold off Tomb Raider. That's such a huge franchise that alone should have been more than $300 million. But they, as successful as Tomb Raider can be, it's not enough for Square. It's not Final Fantasy. It's not Dragon Quest. It's not, these other big titles.
I just read a whole article about Yoshida, who is the main developer for Final Fantasy Online, and how when he was growing up, he didn't find the appeal for Dragon Quest and didn't understand why people liked it, and then ended up working for the company to help with the game. It was like, well, what do you know?
So Embracer Group is this sort of like I want to say they're like a holding company or something, but they're snatching up like development studios IP. And IP that publishers want to sell off. No, they want to
are they scalpers?
Yeah, pretty much. There's them and I think Tencent and some other ones. But yeah, they're just like scooping up whatever they can. Anything that like loses its licenses and that's the property is lapsed, they kind of like scoop it up and acquire it. So But this
Well,
this
it's
just
like
shows
especially
that
Tomb Raider,
yeah,
because it's like, aren't they like? Do you think they're gonna make another Tomb Raider?
yeah, that's Crystal Dynamics is
Yes.
working on yeah, they're working on one because it was announced that I think it was announced before this acquisition, but they announced that they're making a new one.
Yeah.
Previously,
Oh.
they worked on Avengers. So the fact that they announced they're working on a new Tomb Raider game, as someone who plays Avengers, the fact that they announced a new Tomb Raider game and they're being acquired by another studio, so their previous publisher just wanted to get rid of them. Like
Yeah.
everything in the West, they're like, we just don't want to deal with it anymore. We're gonna give it away for $300 million and just not have to deal with it anymore and just focus on our Japanese IP. Um, that that doesn't spell good news for Avengers. So I'm pretty sure that game is gonna die. So I'm
I
gonna enjoy it
mean,
while it lasts, but
yeah. I mean, like that. Like I like it was always a hit or miss with Avengers, especially I don't know, when I would tell people about it, they're like, "Oh, is it a good game?" I'm like, "Well, like, what's a good game to you,
it
sir?"
had a bad
And
launch.
yeah, I had a bet. I feel like it was rushed, and then yeah, it like the graphics and stuff like that. So I remember always telling people,
Yeah.
from what I've heard, like especially from you and other people that had actually played it and stuff, I'm like, if you are big on graphics and like that kind of jazz, maybe it's not for you. But if you like the Marvel universe and you like the stories and you like that
Mhm.
kind of stuff, then it's a good game.
Mhm.
And then they added a lot more to it, right?
Yeah, they
And then the
keep
on
adding
yeah,
to it. Yeah.
and yeah, so it kind of, it could have been better
Mhm.
marketed in that
Yeah.
way to yeah, and
Well,
but
it
yeah, I
should
don't
have been
know.
delayed longer. Like,
Yeah,
there's
it's
very
it's okay
rare.
to delay games. Cyberpunk gave a
Yeah.
perfect like you gave an example of that.
Well, that game got
Things can be
delayed a lot, and it still didn't
and you
help.
know what? Yeah, right. But you know what? Best game I've ever played.
Well, you
For
like
first person. It
so
was
few
such a good
games.
game.
It's so rare for a game to come back after a bad launch.
Yeah.
Like the rare examples are like, um, what's that game? I can't remember the name of it. No Man's Sky. Like one of the rare
Yeah, heard it's
examples.
a great game now. Heard it's great,
Yeah,
you know?
but
And
I will.
I feel like they need like a relaunch. Like a relaunch.
It's not gonna happen though. This is a
But
game
but that
that
needs to be a thing with games where it's
yeah.
like they have a really shitty launch and then suddenly
No,
they're like,
just
"Okay, now it's
don't
better." And then
release
they're
it if
like,
it's not ready.
again, which I agree, because I'm just like, what's the, like, again, what's the point and stuff like that. But I don't know what it's like to work in the game development industry to know why stuff gets released when it shouldn't. I remember like when there's deadlines, but then stuff gets delayed. Like an example would be, Quest 64. It's like I'm an old person, it's fine. But Quest 64, they would have deadlines, and this is like during a time where you can't update it to make it any better and stuff like that. And you can tell in the game that it started off really great. Like there's a lot of like description, there's a lot of like, love and like the world is like kind of great that you're wandering through and stuff like that. But then as you go through the game, it gets worse and worse and worse where there's not a lot of detail. And then again with that game, you leave because you want to see if your dad is okay because he went after this book. And then at the very end of the game, mind you, it had a really good twist. It had a really good. I'm going to ruin it, but like it had a really good twist. But you get the book, and then it just ends, and they're like, "Yeah, you did it, good job." And I'm like, "Is my dad okay though?" Like they never mentioned like what happens to your dad like at all. But it was like those games, they had deadlines,
Yeah,
and
but
those can't be up like
Court
online updated and stuff like that.
Court that was the 90s. That was
Yeah, no,
N64.
I know, but, like, so that's why that's why with me, I don't understand how these games get released when they're not finished, or
Yeah,
there's so much wrong with them, where, like, I feel like if Cyberpunk was like, "You know what? I know you guys are sick of us
here.
making these statements, but, like, we need more time." And
Yeah,
I would have been like, that's fine because
we're gonna get to that.
yeah. Like,
That's something we're leading to. But yeah, if your game's not ready, just don't release it. In terms of Avengers, I will say I think it's a good game. I understand why people would not like it, and it's not. I don't think it was pitched or marketed correctly. Like people had the wrong
Mhm.
assumptions about what the game was, and it wasn't really explained that well. But if you know what the game is and you're in it for the story and like fun online multiplayer, although uh, there is legitimate criticisms about the multiplayer and how that all works. Um, I think you'll have a good time with Avengers. You got to really like Marvel stuff and sort of like a grindy kind of co-op experience. Um, but I wouldn't put too much investment into the game. I will say that the game goes on sale for cheap a lot, and the character editions are all free, so you don't have to put in
Yeah.
any additional money into the game. It is on
I think
Game
it's like
Pass.
$30 right now.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass though. So
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
have Game Pass, just play it, and don't really
Class.
and Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Don't
Get your game fast, guys.
Yeah, just don't
You
invest
can
too much money
play
in
the
it
game.
because we don't know what's happening with it. They're switching publishers. It's a licensed IP, and the developer's working on a new, more established game. So,
Yeah.
it's not the best time to say like I want to put all this money into it, and it's really mostly cosmetic stuff that you're buying anyway. So,
Like
they
Roblox.
Embracer Group does have an official statement here. I don't remember why I put this in here. It probably explains like what they
Or
were selling
AAA.
off.
Oh,
But they were
okay.
selling off like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, like you mentioned,
Isn't that
Legacy
Dull
of
X?
Kain. What?
Like, no, never mind. I'm like, isn't that French for like de
2X.
de X
The X.
de
Um
X?
yeah, so yeah, it's an interesting acquisition, that's for sure. Um
I like how they have like a detailed thing about the money and like fiscal year. You
I think
know,
that's just for their investors.
yeah, invest in us, please. We just bought all this money, or we got all these things we need to resell.
Ubisoft has
Anyways,
been in trouble on and off about um outside companies trying to take him over. So
uh,
they are trying to fix that. So Ubisoft gains on report founding family. Oh, Ubisoft gains on report founding family considering partnering with PE for takeout. PE is
oh
it's a
no,
private equity firm. Hold on. Let me search this here.
yeah. Here, I'm gonna quickly run to
Okay.
the washroom. BRB.
Let me find everything's freezing for me. I'm trying to switch scenes here. Uh Basically, yeah, I couldn't read the full story because it's behind a paywall. Let's see, Ubisoft PE. Um in the news, search Google News section. How's everybody doing? The hex. Um Basically, they're trying to see like if a private equity firm can buy them out. So it's not really one of these big acquisition stories, but Ubisoft could be the next big acquisition. Here we go. From fastcompany.com. Never been to this site before. Let's see how it goes. Ubisoft could be the next big video game acquisition, but it's hardly a sure thing. Consolidation in the video game industry hasn't been this robust for over a decade. That is true. No company is being talked about as frequently as Ubisoft. The gossip mill makes a lot of sense. Ubisoft stock is well off its 52 high week, down 30% from its peaks. That's all financial stuff. Given the price at which other publishers have been selling, Ubisoft would likely command a hefty premium. For most companies, that would be a fairly easy decision. But Yves Guillemot, another asshole in the industry and accused of sexual harassment himself, CEO of
Always.
Ubisoft, doesn't think like a lot of the other game company execs, because this is his baby. Like this is the company he founded with his I think with his brother or something. It's an interesting story how Ubisoft was founded. Um, yeah, there's that Vivendi story. Vivendi was trying to take him over. As Vivendi bought more shares and held more of the company's voting rights than the Gaumont family, he began hunting for partners. He ultimately found them in Tencent, massive Chinese gaming company, and the Ontario Teachers' Pension. I did not
What?
know about that. Who paid just
What?
over 2 billion euro to Vivendi to buy out its shares. I remember the story where they got out from Vivendi's takeover, but I didn't know it was from the Ontario Teachers' Pension. The Tencent has a 5%
What are
stake in the
teachers doing
company.
in there?
I don't know. I don't know.
They're like, we're gamers too, guys.
Well, there is I think there's a Ubisoft studio in Toronto, but I don't know. Had the deal with Tencent not worked out, Guillemot told me that at the time another gaming company was battling to buy into Ubisoft. Things are a lot different in 2022, of course. An offer from Microsoft or Sony, or even Embracer Group, who we just talked about, would likely be given more serious consideration than the Vivendi bid. But analysts think Ubisoft will at least attempt to remain independent and is already sniffing around for private equity investor. I guess he was interviewed. Says, we believe that a deal involving private equity only makes sense if the buyer is willing to give management the time and resources that it needs to turn things around, as well as assurances that its workforce will be largely spared from cost reduction efforts. Oh, this is from Michael Patcher. Right, Michael Pachter. Sorry, I always say that name wrong. He's like a big video game analyst who's been around for a very long time. Essentially, Ubisoft is trying to avoid a takeover.
So they're like, no,
Yeah.
we're still us.
They want to try to remain in control. Here's the thing, man. Yves Guillemot, take a buyout and
Yeah,
do
why
something
not, right?
else, because you're not well liked in this industry right now. Say that, you know.
What has he done now? Sorry, I
What has
had
he
to
done
pull a
now?
mushroom out.
No, it's what he's been doing. What same thing
Is that
as
segue for next bit?
no, it's the same thing as oh, sorry.
Oh no, what happened to me?
I'll fix it. I'm
You're like,
sorry.
sorry, mushroom
I
can't make
closed
a cameo. Gotta cut her out.
I closed down Firefox, so that screwed up my screen sharing. There we go. Okay, you're back. Hello, mushroom.
Hi. Yep. She's being a little brat. Like she always is. Yeah. You're just a brat.
Remember when we were talking about delays, Court?
Oh no. What do you got for me?
Since our last podcast,
Is it Breath
Breath
of
of
the
the Wild
Wild?
has been delayed.
You know what? Good.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, you got banned from Nightbot again.
What'd you do?
Hold on, let me untime you out. Damn it, Carrie.
Get out! Get off the caps lock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a warning.
Breath of the Wild. Are you surprised?
No, it's like I don't know. Breath of the Wild, like just Zelda in general, is very near and dear to me. Like the fact that there was like even to see a little bit of gameplay and like or even a trailer. Yeah, this and to see his arm, and then people were like, "Oh my god, do you think?" And I'm like, I'm so jealous right now that I don't get to play this game, and I don't get that way often. The only time I
But
ever got
it'll
this
be
way
better.
was like, pardon?
It will be better though, because it's
Yeah,
delayed.
which is fine, and that's why I'm okay with it being delayed. But like, yeah, just seeing all of I can't stop it. I don't want to look at it. I'm getting jealous just seeing this stuff. It reminds me of like times when I used to watch the Pokemon TV series, and then they started doing like the songs at the end where like it was like music videos, and they would show clips of like episodes that I'd never seen before, and I would get so jelly. And like seeing that and just seeing gameplay, I'm just like, I really want to play this game. Like, I
Well,
just can't.
I got some bad news, Court. Another Nintendo franchise or Nintendo property has been delayed. One that we've been looking forward to.
Oh
And
no.
oops, I posted it in the chat. Oh no, wait, I didn't copy it. Hold on, I ruined the segue.
Oh no! What have you done? What
Hold
is
on, I'll fix
it?
it. So unfortunately, the Nintendo or the Mario movie has been delayed.
Good. They're like,
It's
we're
a funny,
rethinking Mario.
it's a funny tweet though, because it's so. This is April 25th. The tweet says, "This is Miyamoto. After consulting with Chrison, my partner at Illumination on the Super Mario Brothers film, we decided to
Why?
move the global release to spring 2023, April 28th in Japan and April 7 in North America. My deepest apologies, but I promise it will be well worth the wait."
It better be. I want to meme on it so hard.
I was expectantly, yeah.
Yeah.
I find it funny as this is Miyamoto. The first response here is, "This is not
This is
Miyamoto."
not- Blink twice if you're in danger. Put a period after that sentence if you need help.
And finally, this is not going to be the last of delays for the year. Redfall and Starfield have been delayed.
Yeah, that was standard issue mushroom.
So I don't know if we'll see this in the Xbox showcase, because these are Bethesda titles. So it'll be interesting. I do want to see more of Redfall. I don't have any interest in Starfield.
Redfall again?
Personally.
I think I like that one. I didn't like Starfield because I could care less about space.
Yeah. I don't. You know what? I need to see what Starfield's about, but I personally don't have interest in it. Redfall, which is like it's like back. It looked like Left 4 Dead vampires, so I'm all in already. So let's do it.
Yes. Okay. I remember that one and I liked it. Yep. I now remember.
Okay, and now we are on to a big topic here. So this is the PlayStation Plus information.
This is what I need to know. People that have been asking me, and I'm like,
we will go through it. This is an
podcast yet.
This is an updated blog post, so this should have all the new information. Okay. There is some additional stuff I have that we'll get into after this, but essentially, PlayStation Plus is changing. PlayStation Now is going away.
And it's just going to be PlayStation Plus?
Yeah, so like, so they're going to have different tiers. So you know how there's like Xbox games with gold, or sorry, Xbox Live Gold.
Bro, they need to simplify it. I tried to explain that to a person, and they were like,
I can't simplify.
They didn't understand. I didn't understand. I was like, this is fine. Just get this. It should be okay. And I was like, I hope it is.
I feel like I need to give a course on what you're
you should make a video.
You're paying.
Yeah, you should make a video.
I feel like most people get it though. Like most people who are going to be watching a YouTube video,
it makes
are going to know.
Assuming makes an ass out of you and me.
I feel like I'd be making a video specifically for you.
Yes, so. And then I could show people. I'd be like, check out this video. It explains everything. I'll I'll be like, and then we both can learn.
Here's the video right now. So, Xbox Live Gold, you're paying for online. Hey, pay attention. There's gonna be a quiz, okay? So, Xbox Live Gold was what first came out because that gave you access to online. So you can play games online. You can talk with your friends in the party. Yep. You get some additional bonuses out of it. They're giving you free games every month that you can claim.
Gold gives you that.
Gold gives you that. Like they just give away. It's like here's 4 games that you can get for the month.
Okay.
But essentially, it's just how you play online. That's why you're buying it, so
Yeah.
you can play online with people. There's some like additional bonus stuff here and there, but it doesn't matter. The majority of the
Okay.
reason is you're playing online with friends.
Okay. And then Ultimate,
So that's
it,
the highest one. Let's get there. We'll get
that's
there.
where you can play on
Game
different
Pass.
Oh, there's another thing? Oh my, I thought it just went gold
So
to Ultimate.
no. So gold is just you're playing online. Game
Okay.
Pass gives you. So if you have Game Pass,
So
there
gold isn't Game Pass.
gold is not Game Pass.
Game Pass
We'll get there.
is Netflix, but for games.
Game Pass is Netflix for games. Yeah. So they have a tier system for Game Pass as well, which is sort of similar to what the new PlayStation Plus is. But because Xbox develops games or releases games for Xbox, the console, and PC, they have different tiers. So there's the Xbox Game Pass, there's the PC Game Pass. So depending on which platform that you have, you can buy one or the other. So it is essentially that Netflix for games. You have a library of games that you can play on your platform that you choose, like whichever subscription platform. And you can just play those. You might get like discounts on those games too if you want to buy to own them.
Okay.
But you get that library of games that you can play for as long as you have your subscription. And they'll cycle through them. So like the free games that you get with gold, you own them. So even if even if you claim to own them, you can still play them. There's no like expiration. As long as you have your gold subscription, you can play them. The 360 and Xbox original games are the exception, where you just own them flat out because of how their architecture worked for the marketplace back then. They can't they can't take those games away from you. You're like, they had no way to change that. So if you claim a game through gold for Xbox 360 or original Xbox, you own them forever. Xbox One and Xbox Series, as long as you keep your subscription, you own them, you can play them. Game Pass is like Netflix. Whatever the library is available there right now, that's what you can play right now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So, Xbox has Game Pass Ultimate, which
is all the things.
It gives you Xbox Live Gold, it gives you Game Pass on Xbox, and Game Pass on PC, as well as Game Pass on the cloud, which you can play through your mobile device, web browser, whatever. You also get EA Play with it as well. So, that's why it's the ultimate package. You get everything with it.
So I have EA Play?
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Why am I not? I should need to be downloading with The Sims, man.
When's the test? We're getting there, okay? We need to get to the PlayStation side. So PlayStation sees all this, and they're like, hey, let's make it complicated too. So
no, I was hoping they would make it simple.
So all new PlayStation
like, we're
Plus.
getting rid of one and making it all on one. Like, no, of course not.
But I think if you equate it to what Xbox is doing, I think it's pretty similar, and I feel like this is a good value. If you're primarily a PlayStation player,
I'm gonna like literally clip or highlight this. You highlight that whole bit of you explaining it, and then you send it to me, because then I'm gonna use it as an instructional video for me and my associates. Sure. This is what Game Pass is.
So, an all-new PlayStation Plus launches in June with 700 plus games and more. Sorry, I read that weird. 700 plus games and more value than ever. So,
what happens if I already have both?
I believe they get into that. This update is their progress in different markets. Who cares?
Excellent. Hey, way to go, Team Sony Japan.
Yeah, this isn't the details that I'm looking for. Anyways, since launching PlayStation Plus in 2010, Sony Interactive Entertainment has been at the forefront of innovation with game subscription services.
That is a false boast.
We were thrilled to be the first console membership service that included a refreshed library of games through PlayStation Plus. And were they? I feel like Xbox did that first.
I feel like no. Okay, so this is where, with the different consoles, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, where, for example, Splatoon won Best First Person Shooter of the Year, and people were like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "Yeah, for Nintendo, it is the only first person shooter." It's not first person;
it's third person.
No, it's first person.
It's third person.
It can be first person.
It can be?
I'm pretty sure. I remember playing it at first person.
I've only ever seen and played it in third person.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while for me. I don't know.
Okay.
But it was like they won for our shooter game, best shooter game.
Sure.
But it was the only shooter game for Nintendo. So I was like, I'm sorry. How do you give yourself the award? It's like, good job, we did it.
Good point.
And I feel like they're like, hey, we're like the first time
we're gonna
we've done
give
this.
it.
We're like, what about Microsoft? They're like, no, we're talking about like PlayStation, Sony. Like we're not including the other markets here. Like it's just the first time we've ever done it. Therefore, we got the award. Let's go.
It's
team.
The best shooter for Nintendo because they crippled the Switch to make any other shooter unplayable on the Switch.
Even then, Splatoon was like awful. Because it was motion sensor too. I was like, what is happening in this game?
You could turn that off.
Oh, bro. I mean, like, it was still terrible. But even controller for first person shooters is not ideal.
Yeah.
But again, I'm biased because I'm a PC person. So when it comes to shooting, it's just a lot easier for controls with PC or with a mouse and keyboard. So
not gonna argue with you on that one.
Yeah. It's definitely.
So, today we are pleased to share with you official news about changes coming to our subscription services. This June, we're bringing together PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now in an all-new PlayStation Plus subscription service that provides more choice to customers across 3 membership tiers globally. It's actually 4. They're trying to set,
they're lying again.
They're trying to set the expectations on 3, but there's a specific reason why there's 4. Our focus is on providing high-quality, curated content with a diverse portfolio of games, asterisk. Why is there an asterisk there?
Scroll down.
That this diverse portfolio of games, asterisk.
Scroll down.
I don't want to scroll all the way down yet.
Select few.
Below is an overview of the 3 membership tiers. Okay, here we go.
Oh, God.
PlayStation Plus Essential. Benefits. It provides the same benefits that PlayStation Plus members are getting today, such as 2 monthly downloadable games, exclusive discounts, cloud storage for saved games, online multiplayer access. There are no changes for existing PlayStation Plus members in this tier. This is the current PlayStation Plus. They just changed the name PlayStation Plus Essential. This is essentially Xbox Live Gold. The same sort of benefits.
I got it.
The price for PlayStation Plus Essential remains the same as the current price for PlayStation Plus. So that's not changing. So if you have PlayStation Plus, you're getting the same stuff right now at the same price.
Yes.
Next is PlayStation Plus Extra.
Oh my God! Why wouldn't they? Why they? That's the thing. Like with Xbox
I feel like they should
Gold,
be like PlayStation Plus 1, 2, and 3.
But I was just about to say like literally 1, 2, 3 tiers. That plain and simple numbers. Let's go. Like you know how often
this is essential. You're getting extra stuff in this one, and this is the premium.
Stupid. I mean, like I get it, but at the same, like it's just, you know how many times I have to explain to people about Xbox One X is different from Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, and they're like, well,
I'm agreeing with you there.
I'm like, there's a 1 in that whole sentence.
Stupid naming convention. It's what?
I was like, there is a 1. There is a 1.
PlayStation has the right idea.
Yeah,
PlayStation
PS5.
4, PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
As simple as
Right?
that.
Xbox was like, Xbox 360. I'm like, where are you getting that from? Okay, like 360 Red Ring of
Yeah.
Death. Great job. I like the name.
The,
Goes along with that.
the thing
And then it's
I don't
like,
like is for
and
Nintendo.
then they're like Xbox One. I'm
Yeah.
well, like Nintendo.
The one the reason behind Xbox One is the initial idea was it was going to be the one device in your living room that could do everything. People hated that,
Pretentious.
but they stuck with the name.
Yeah, they're like, we're
Yeah.
not backing down. And then they're like, and now we're gonna make this series. Like, stop.
But the
Just
reason
Xbox
why
2. It's fine.
the
It's
reason
okay.
the reason behind that is they don't need a console naming convention anymore. They can just be Xbox because again, you're buying Game Pass. Doesn't matter what the device is. So there's going to be other Xboxes or devices that where you can play Xbox games, but this is the X series of that Xbox. This is the S series, and they're probably going to make more. There's probably going to be other ones. That's
The
what the
Series
that's
L
that's what
and
the
the
rumor
Series
is.
M, and it's like, no.
That's what the rumor is for the Xbox showcase for Summer Game
Oh,
Fest. So
okay.
we might see where that leads. The rumor is that they're going to be partnering with TV manufacturers to have Xbox functionality built in. So it's going to be purely cloud streaming based, or they're making some sort of streaming stick for Xbox. So we might hear about that soon, if that is true.
Okay.
Anyways, back to PlayStation. The one thing I will say about Nintendo, let's put the Wii and Wii U arguments aside for this. The Switch, which I think is kind of clever name. The Switch Lite. Why?
Because it's lightweight.
But it makes you think. It makes you think of a light switch.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're searching for it. Oh, I want to get my kids a Switch Lite. Why are results coming up for a light switch?
Yeah. That's true. They spelt it wrong. That's why. Even with the sports game that came out, I'm here for my Wii Sports. I mean, sorry.
Yeah. I did that a lot too.
And I'm like, we know which one you're talking about. It's fine.
So anyways, PlayStation Plus Extra. So this is the second tier. So it provides all of the benefits from the essential tier. So this is already different from Xbox in this way. So everything's accumulative. Whereas Xbox is separate services, or you can get them all in one. Right?
Yes.
So this one, Extra, you're getting PlayStation Plus Essentials, but you're also getting a catalog of up to 400 asterisk of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. Games in the extra tier are downloadable for play. This is essentially their Game Pass. So you're getting PlayStation Plus Extra. You're getting their Game Pass and their Gold. So you're getting PlayStation Plus Essentials and
the
a library of 400
Xbox
games.
Isn't, because that's like, because I always thought Ultimate was like also.
So
you were getting Gold.
This is sort of their Ultimate. This is like halfway to Ultimate. Because you're getting.
So it's a little bit easier to remember, or it's like it's a little bit easier to explain. Where you're
is, yeah.
Because now you're like, because that's like, I feel like that's the way it should be for tier systems. Like, and that's why I don't understand with Xbox why they would separate them, because if they're getting the Ultimate, then you should just have every service that you kind of supply.
There's that rumor because they were trying to increase the price of Xbox Live Gold a couple years ago, and people did not like that. But it was assumed that they were trying to do that to push out Gold, to get people to just pay a little bit more, or a lot more, but pay more for Game Pass Ultimate, because if you're paying more, you might as well just pay for the higher price for Gold and get more games, right? So that way they could phase out Gold and just have Game Pass. So I think they tried, but the way that they went about doing it pissed a lot of people off, so they just kept Gold. Um,
Yeah. They were like, well, that's, and that again, that's another thing too. When you try and force a market
yeah.
to do something, they're like, no, we're
So
gonna stick to our guns. We're
I
not buying Krispy Kreme donuts. We're
yeah,
getting Tim Hortons.
I already think this is better because you can play online.
Les Ultra, beste friend. It
We're
just seems like. Sorry, I'm just like it's just essential. Then ultra, like plus ultra is
yeah.
like what is this?
Oh, it's
My
yeah.
Hero Academia.
It's extra, but yeah. So you can play online. You get the 2 free games a month, and you can play 400 other games, up to
Yeah.
400. Sorry. So this already seems like a better value than Game Pass Ultimate. But if you want to pay a little bit more, if you're nostalgic,
Just if you're like
yeah,
that extra little bit, that extra little bit.
if you are very nostalgic, this is their ultimate tier for you. So PlayStation Plus Premium, paying that higher price point, you get everything from essential and extra tiers, but it also adds up to 340 asterisk additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming, because it's impossible to get PS3 games to play natively on
Yes, unless you have a PS3
yeah.
still. So,
So this is their compromise. You can stream PS3 games.
and you know what? PS3 had a really good catalog of games.
Yeah, but a lot of
Like,
those were re-released or remastered for PS4.
depending, because like, and I'm talking about um, like a lot of the anime games where like because like I feel like only a select few were remastered for PS4,
I
but
I don't
PS3 had a
think
ton. Like because
I don't think they'll be part
PS3,
of that.
what? Because that's the thing too is like PS3. I feel like also kind of coexisted with Vita,
Yeah,
and that's where a lot of like PS3 like that whole genre. If you had a Vita and you had a PS3, like you basically were reaping in the benefits of like all these really great games like Persona
especially if
and
they're
like.
cross buy.
Yeah, exactly, because then you had the thing to play
Mm-hmm.
your Vita onto your PS3 and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
there was like that whole thing, but then it all stopped with PS4. So like it's one of those things where I think PS3 was a very unique console genre when it came to that, and plus the Vita. So I still have to update my PSP, man. I keep forgetting.
you don't really need to.
Listen,
Anyways,
if I want to play games, I have to. And then steal the internet of those around
so
me.
it's more than just PS3 games, which I think is just like that's just
Yeah, I
them
want to
trying
know what
to.
PS2 games they have.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So I think the PS3 thing is just trying to appease the people saying like we want backwards compatibility, and they're like we can't,
Yeah.
but here they're available for cloud streaming. Will make you happy. The other
Yeah.
big thing here is a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and PSP. So, this is essentially the entire PlayStation generation, or the PlayStation library, or what am I saying? The all the different generations of PlayStation consoles. You get games for all of those except for the Vita, together in one plan here. So this is their Game Pass for everything.
Yeah.
Whereas
Which
the extra is Game Pass for PS4 and PS5.
and then this one is this
Yeah,
the premium is where they're getting those people that wanted the backwards compatibility
yeah,
for the like, the other genres, because again, PS3 first wave had backwards compatibility, but then
yeah.
and then second wave it didn't, and then PS4 they're like, yeah, there's going to be none of that, and it was like, are you fucking serious right now? And then you had, yeah, like PSP classics, like even like Kingdom Hearts was on there, like Crisis Core, phenomenal game, for Final Fantasy, and like like with the PlayStation original games, you're gonna get all of those Final Fantasy games. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Hopefully,
You
but
know,
yeah. Well, I think they had there's a list of games, so we will get to that. Of
yeah.
like what's coming up for the lineup.
Because
But
that would sell me the most, like, because again, I
oh
have
yeah,
the
if
original PlayStation.
well, you play a lot of older PlayStation games, I think,
I
right?
know I'm such a hipster gamer.
But I'm saying like this might be the tier that you want to go with
Yes,
if you want to play that
I'm
stuff on
hoping
your
to get it
PS5.
for free. Yeah, exactly right. So that would be like like because that would be great
Mhm.
to play this and not like you because right now I have like my PS2 Slim
Yeah.
and I have a converter thing to HDMI, like like, and then to see it in like like just a better res and to not and to have it all in one place. That's what that's the benefit, right? So
Well, I think here's the difference between PlayStation and Xbox for their, their streaming options, their Netflix options, right? PlayStation has it broken down to current gen and every gen.
yeah,
So they have
aside from Vita,
they have the yes. So they have
which
the
is really odd.
not really because Vita is like they're still supporting the Vita stores for now. They were going to take it down, but fans reacted and said no, we want it up.
Oh, because I remember you had to do the whole thing with your Vita, just so then that way you like you were because you were like they're gonna shut down the store and then I guess fans
No, the only
revolted and
reason no,
don't do it.
that's I might do that for my 3DS, but I never did that for my like that wasn't the reason for my Vita. I was looking at games to
Oh,
buy before it shut down, but then they reversed that decision. The reason
oh,
why I modded my Vita was mostly for
Vidia.
my Vita is mostly for convenience because some PSP games that even I own digitally, there's no way to get them to work on the Vita, even though it can natively play any PSP game or PS1 game with like no issues. Sony just makes it impossible for me to actually play the game legitimately. So I had to
Interesting.
mod my Vita to play games I already own on that platform that can play it. It can technically play it without issues, but they just didn't want to give me access to do that. And it's hard to explain that. It's
They're
just
like, we
that
know what you're doing.
yeah. So Vita, you can get PS1 games or PSP games on Vita, but it's a limited selection. And there's some games that you can get without going through the Vita store by getting them from your PS3, downloading them to the console, and then transferring them with your Vita plugged into the PS3. And even then, it's still a limited selection of games where the Vita can technically play any, like it has the capability to play any PS1 or PSP game.
Nice. So that's
So
why the Vita was like far superior than what we ever
yeah,
expected it
but
to
you have to mod it in order
be
to
in order
be
to do
able to
that.
do that. So it's
Interesting.
really frustrating. The handheld is great. I love it.
Yeah.
But the limitations of it that Sony purposefully put on it are so frustrating.
I
Um,
should have bought it when I had the chance.
I think you
I
can.
remember like I just remember seeing it and being like and it was brand new like when it went like this is when the Vita was new and I was like, "Oh, I should buy
Yeah,
this because I remember I loved the PSP." And it
yeah.
wasn't mine, it was my
I
ex's.
love PSP too.
And but I played it way more than he did. And I remember well the reason why I have mine now is because I went to my friend. I was like, "Can you go to my ex and ask him if he still plays his PSP? If not, can you ask him to have it so you can then give it to me?" She's like, "Bro, like my husband has a PSP and everything, so I'll just give you that one." I was like, "Excellent. Thank you
Nice.
so
The
much."
PSP is
Like,
still great, but now we get those games on
I
because
love it.
the
It's so
PSP
great.
store they did shut down the PSP store, and now we know why because
Yeah, because now it's
now it's
this
part of
thing.
this. Yeah.
But I still have a physical copy of like Crisis Core. I'm gonna replay it. It's gonna be great. I
um.
think that was like one of the first games I ever like 100%ed because I didn't want it to end because I knew what was gonna happen.
So continuing on, so the premium tier offers cloud streaming access for original PlayStation, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games offered in the extra and premium tiers in
So again, it's an
markets,
add-on.
double asterisks for
Oh, can't wait
markets
till we scroll
where
down.
PlayStation Now is currently available. Customers can stream games using PS4 and PS5 consoles. So you don't even need to have a PS5. This subscription service works with the PS4 as well. And PC. Triple asterisk there.
Wow. Oh,
So
interesting.
you might
Interesting.
not even need a PlayStation to
Just like
benefit from
Game
PlayStation.
Pass or whatever.
Yeah. Time-limited game trials will also be offered in this tier, so customers can try select games before they buy. This one's a little bit weird to explain. I don't know if we'll fully go into that today, but
Oh, that's interesting. They're like they probably give you a bunch of hours
it
to like sink
yeah
into it. Kind of
that's
like with
essentially what
Steam,
it
like if
is.
you yeah, like Steam gives you 2 hours.
Yeah,
Where if you don't like it after 2 hours, then you can always return it
but
because like that's the limit.
they're doing a thing where it's a weird thing to get into, and I don't have the details up on that right now, but it sounds like they're forcing developers to make a game trial version of the game, like to build it into, so update their game to say this is the game trial, like a certain period of time
Oh.
before like the game locks, and they have a time frame to do that. What happens after that time frame comes up? Does it get delisted from the store? Does it, like, what happens? So that's the weird story with that right now. So
Yeah, cause like you're like, okay,
yeah,
you're only allowed to play um this amount of hours, but then what if you're like, oh well, then now I can play and get to a further point in the game faster because I already played
yeah.
this amount of time, right? So that makes sense.
So you remember that double asterisks beside markets
Mhm.
where it says
Yes.
you can stream these games where PlayStation Now is currently available? Well,
Hmm.
here's where the fourth tier comes in. The hidden fourth
What?
tier. So, PlayStation Plus Deluxe in select markets. For markets without cloud streaming, PlayStation Plus Deluxe will be offered at a lower price compared to Premium and includes a catalog of beloved classic games from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations to download and play, along with time-limited game trials. Benefits from essential and extra tiers are also included. Local pricing will vary by will vary by market. So the difference here is you don't live in a place where PlayStation Now is a thing. Maybe internet's not that great. The streaming service
Mm,
does not benefit there, or some licensing agreement. Who knows? Um, what you're missing out on is game streaming, and by
yeah,
extension, PS3 games. So
interesting. Via cloud streaming.
yeah,
Okay.
so you can only download games from the service in those markets. So you can download PlayStation, PS2, and PSP games. Um, I don't know what that it's not clarifying. Well, it is. Okay, so the extra tier, can you download those games? Yeah, it's downloadable or play. So you can still download PS4 and PS5 games as part of that plan as well. So the only thing you're missing out on is PS3 games and streaming capabilities. You can only download those games except for PS3. So
Okay. Interesting. I guess like that's kind of nice that they've factored that in
mhm.
where it's like, for those people that can't do that. What's this about Death Stranding?
Right here, I don't know how you catch this stuff. At launch, we plan to include titles such as Death Stranding,
Does
God
that
of War,
work?
Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal. We're working closely with our imaginative developers from PlayStation Studios and third-party partners to include some of the best gaming experiences available with a library that will be regularly refreshed. There's a lot more text here. You can read the
Cool.
blog, but on that note, um, here's essentially what we can expect. First of all, PlayStation CEO says first-party games will not launch on day one on revamped PlayStation Plus.
Sorry.
So that kind of I maybe that blog was updated after this was published, but
Yeah.
it says um yeah, so interview with Jim Ryan, which Jim Ryan's gonna come up later, by the way, in a not so good
Okay.
way. But
Okay. Oh
with
no.
GameIndustry.biz, he says we feel like we are in a good virtuous cycle with the studios where the I know what this is for. So this isn't. These are like new PlayStation games. You know how Game
Okay.
Pass has like day one, it's gonna launch on Game Pass,
Yeah.
brand new games. Not the case with PlayStation. So
They're like, oh,
the
hold your
new
horses.
yeah, the new God of War that's coming out won't be on PlayStation Plus. You will have to buy that game.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what that means.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Does it?
They're
Because
like,
their competition is saying all of our first party games are going to be on Game
except for
Pass.
God of War, because they won't be on Xbox, Game Pass, whatever, because it's a Sony exclusive.
I guess if you want to look at it that way.
That's where they get
But
you.
they're saying like okay, what if I'm interested in this new PlayStation game and this new Xbox game, and you're both offering subscription services, but
Then they
the
would probably.
one
Okay, so this
guy,
is.
the one company is offering the subscription service with all these great games, and I can play the new game right away with it without having to pay anything extra.
I would say that Sony is going to use their Sony exclusive rights to still. They could almost leverage it for their subscription service, right? But then, like, I don't know. It comes down to the kind of money they want to make off of people buying it physically and everything, because that's the thing, is that they don't have to make it on a day one. They're like, no, you still have to buy it physically, and no, you can't get it on Xbox day one because Xbox doesn't make these games. And then, like, I don't know, I feel like it's a war about to start, but at the same time,
I think Sony's just still in a more traditional mindset. They're making this
yeah,
change, which is a great change. I think this is going to benefit them. I think
yeah. It's
it's a good business decision on their end. It's good for the gamer as well. They're getting a huge library of games they can
I
access.
like it's just like I feel like people are so afraid of going digital, and they feel like it's going to ruin the
I
market
don't
and
think
stuff like
so
that. Like I
anymore.
literally
I don't think that's a
yeah,
thing anymore.
yeah, and that's the thing, like, even like I've had people come to me like, "Oh, if everything was digital, you wouldn't have a job." And I was like, "That's not we sell digital stuff here." But it's I feel like gaming has the same kind of um mentality where like Kobo and Kindle, when they first came out, it's like these digital books, and they were hell of a lot cheaper. But the thing is, people still like having the physical item.
For reading,
And but
yeah.
that yeah, and I feel like and maybe with this like digital age, that when they actually come out with physical copies of games, they'll put more into it, like instruction manuals and guides with like art and pictures. That just because that was like that's the one thing I miss about way back in the day when you would buy a brand new game. Like I remember having Zelda Ocarina of Time and my brother coming down the stairs like fucking 8 a.m. on a Sunday because we didn't fucking go to church, and like and he like flopped down the Ocarina of Time manual, opened it up, put to the map, and he's like, "Hey,
Hmm.
we're gonna travel from here, and we're gonna go to here to here to here." And like I remember like seeing this map and be like, okay, and like this starting this adventure, and then even loving the art that was in these little instruction manuals and trying to draw them, and it was just like it was so great, and they put so much effort into these things. So maybe like with this digital age, and then when something becomes less of like, okay, well, physical, let's add something to it
Well,
that
no,
people will,
yeah,
want to get physical, right?
no,
Let's get physical.
I think there's going to be uh yeah, there's the physical aspect of games, which I'm not saying is not important or anything. there is benefit to doing that, especially with guides or some sort of visual thing that enhances your
Yeah.
experience. But I will say that the difference between digital books and physical books, people wanting physical books, is that video games are inherently a digital medium,
Yep.
whereas uh, you know, a
Like a
novelization or anything like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that's text on paper, and that's I think you're getting a better experience out of that physical version.
You get the
Um,
smell.
yeah, you
Just
get the
open that
book,
fresh new
get
book.
the book smell. But
But
video
like, but
games
also,
aren't a physical medium. They have the physical enhancements or like things that can add to the experience, but games are digital. So
yeah. And like, but that's where I feel like there is a niche market of people that want to have like their library of physical copies of like their games and
yeah.
stuff like that, and to have that, and because like that's the thing, like they love, like they're like, we have one guy and he just constantly buys all these games,
Hmm.
and we're like, do you ever play these? He's like, probably not. He's like, just to add to my library, like just so
Hmm.
he can have these games, because and there's so many people that are like that,
Yeah, there's a collector's
where
market. And
yeah,
I think this past year has made me realize there's more of a need for physical games, which I'm surprised by. But there's more of it. I
yeah,
would have not expected this. There's more of a need for physical games now, um, than there was in the more recent um memory, I guess. But
yeah,
just with things like digital stores closing, the fear of the PlayStation stores closing, the
yeah.
confirmation that Nintendo is going to be closing their digital stores, and a lot of games that are tied to those platforms just being lost to time because of one thing or another. They're not.
That's the thing with digital,
Yeah,
is that, like, if they shut it down, like,
you're
how
gone.
are
You're screwed.
you?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
depends how that
exactly.
licensing works or how you obtain those games. Because like in example for PlayStation and Xbox, um, a lot of the times you purchase those games, they still have their servers available to re-download those games if you ever lose
Yeah.
them. But in the case of most recently Xbox, uh, the weekend of my birthday actually, their servers or some sort of licensing thing that they had just went down. So games that you own or like Game Pass games, it was having trouble confirming that you actually can play those games. You
Oh,
needed
wow.
an online connection to say that. So like we were trying to play like some games online, and it's like, oh, we can't confirm that you have Game Pass, so you can't play this. It's like, well, so that's another
And it's
thing.
like,
Like
"I
even
do,
though,
it's right
yeah,
here."
even though they're saying like, yeah, you can download your games even if you delete them or whatever, even if they're not listed because their servers are still up. So don't worry about it. Yeah, but when they're not, there's an online check that doesn't happen. So when you still have those games saved, it's like, well, you can't play it because we can't confirm that you own those games. So like
Yeah,
even
and
even that where you're like you have some sort of security with digital games where like if something happens I'm going to be fine. That's not
yeah,
always going to be the case because eventually if they say, we're shutting down or we're being acquired or whatever things are changing,
what happens
that
to the digital versions of those
yeah,
games, right?
those games are gone. So I
Yeah.
think even in that scenario, like any scenario, um
And that's like, that's almost like the value of physical games, because no matter who acquires what and what happens to the market, you have that physical copy, therefore it's yours
yeah.
forever. It is like truly yours forever. And that's where, the real value kind of comes into, because I've had people ask me like, "Oh, like what if you can't log into your account, or it gets hacked, or like anything like that? Like, do I lose all my memory and like all of my digital games?" I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what happens when you, like, if you don't have the physical copy of those games and everything's digital, like it's all on one account."
Again,
So like, if
there's still ways to like correct that, but it's an
yeah,
over time thing. Like that's the situation right now where you might be able to deal with it, but over
yeah,
time you're not going to have those tools
yeah, like
available to
even
you.
even with like the new like PlayStation Online stuff and stuff like that, they're like, yeah, you can play PlayStation Plus. So you're like, oh my god, I can play Crisis Core, but then who knows in years from now if you're
Mhm.
like, hey, I want to play this, they're like, no, we've shut down that thing,
Yeah,
we've upgraded,
that's the
we've made it
thing.
into
Yeah.
this thing, and then suddenly you can't play that game. But I have it physically. I can play it whenever I want.
Mhm.
For obviously, I would hope that it still works.
Yeah, it's
But
like the
like,
physical things
yeah,
are also going to be lost to time too, because eventually
right.
physical copies do degrade or become unplayable.
Right. I
Um,
don't know, man. PS2 games, no matter how scratched they are, they still work like a charm. Like, I will literally show you my Tales of Abyss disc. It's like it's scratched to shit. I'm just like, they don't make them like they used to. Like, pop it in, or like even with the GameCube games, like when I was playing Tales of Symphonia, I don't know if it was like my system or like the game itself, but I had to warm it up for 15 minutes, and that's a thing too with physical, is that these machines, they don't last forever.
no.
And I had to go through, like, I remember I couldn't play Metroid
Hmm.
because the disc was completely
Yeah.
unreadable, and and there was nothing I could do, and
Yeah.
even like when I played Tales of Symphonia, I had to start 30 minutes prior to stream to turn on my GameCube to warm it up,
Hmm.
to then be able to actually play the game without any sort of issues and stuff like that. And that's the thing, like even with N64, you blow on it, you put it in, like you hope for the best, and it's like, so that's, yeah, there's a lot of things that are beneficial about physical
Yeah.
when it comes to time, but then also to they still like depreciate and
Yes.
may not work.
Either way is not great, and there's that's why people bring up um emulation and stuff like that as a way to
Hmm.
preserve games, because there's
Yep.
like beyond those other two options, there's no other way, and eventually either option you're screwed. It's just
Yep.
how, like the physical games is going to be dependent on how you keep condition of the stuff that you own, and how long that stuff is going to last, whereas the
Yeah.
digital one is all based on how long the company in control is going to allow you to be able
Yeah.
to play that game. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a mixed bag. Like I still prefer playing games digitally and having stuff access digitally, but I am starting to buy more physical games because I'm realizing, ooh, that's not a good situation.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah. And yeah. I mean, I can go on like why you should buy physical
yeah.
and like,
But that's not really, yeah,
but
that's not really the discussion here, because we're going to be talking about the digital games that you can play through the all new PlayStation Plus games. This is the game lineup for the all new PlayStation
all
Plus.
right, so this is the lineup. This is
Yeah.
what we can expect. Yeah. Death Stranding, let's go.
Do they have a
I mean, I
list?
have it physically.
Monthly
Maybe I should play it
games.
again. Such a
Death
good game.
Stranding.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
such a good game.
Monthly
Such
games,
a good game.
PlayStation Plus Essential, Extra, and Premium / Deluxe plans. And any plan you choose, you'll get the same benefits that are currently available today for PlayStation Plus members. Um, they don't, so they don't detail that what's going to be in June for the PlayStation Plus free
Okay.
games.
I'm
They're
assuming
just
it's
saying
gonna
you're still going to
be
get them.
in this
I think they're
like
going to be garbage games because they haven't been
they're gonna
great
be
lately.
they're gonna be fucking Final Fantasy games.
They're going to be
Fucking
games nobody
that's it.
cares about, because they're going to be like, do you want good games? Go to the go to the extra tier.
No.
That way you get 400 games at your disposal. Um, but yeah, PS4 and PS5 game catalog for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium / Deluxe plans.
Yeah, this is why I even recently traded in the God of War game, because it's one of the free ones.
Oh
So I
yeah,
was like, what's the point of like having it physically
because
when
when it's
we can
not,
just play it for free?
we just discussed this.
Yeah.
Like you still
But
have
but
it.
that but y- but the thing is, I mean, like depending on, not saying like how good the game is, but there are certain games that like Zelda, Ocarina of Time. I mean, like again, I feel like it's also a very subjective opinion of mine where I will keep certain games that I know will gain in value like in a physical kind of way, but like
I feel like
games
God
like
of
God
War
of
would.
War, like
Here's the
I
argument
don't
for God of War, because the older God of War games hard to obtain. especially physically. And when you can
I
find them,
like the PS3 ones or the PS2
yeah,
ones.
the original ones, PS2. Because I was
Yeah,
trying to,
but
I was like,
there's
how
like
can
a
I
collect
play the old God of War games today? And they were remastered for PS3,
four
and the old games
PS4.
are on
There's
PS4.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so hold on.
The
Just to
can you
kind of
get the
fact check.
entire collection of God of War games on a PS4 right now?
PS4.
Because then that might be my way to go. Because I'm like, I wanna play like all of them, but I'm like, a lot of them are on PS2, PS3.
Yeah, I think it's like the third one, and then yeah, PS3 has the collection, so it's like the original and then the second one. So yeah, so
Okay.
I can get where I can see that, but
Okay.
I don't know, like God of War had just like it just been around for so long, and just like constantly available because it is again an exclusive like PlayStation game,
Hmm.
and like and now it's just free, and it's
Okay.
not a long game to beat either, but I don't know. It's like to me, I'm just like Zelda. You gotta keep those ones, man.
So I'm
And
gonna
Mario 64, keep it. It's gonna be
I'm
worth
gonna
something one day.
exactly.
I
I'm going
have 3
to
different versions of that fucking game.
I'm gonna list some notable ones here. So these are PS4 and PS5. Yeah, PS4 and
Yeah,
PS5 games.
Everybody's Golf. It is
Everybody's
literally Hot
Golf.
Shots Golf. It is literally the
Yeah.
PS2 Hot Shots Golf, but it just went under a different
Yeah, I
name.
think they just changed
Everyone
the
needs to
title.
know, and everyone needs to like if they liked Hot Shots and they were like, "Oh, I'm so sad it didn't go anywhere." Like, no,
But
it's there.
Bloodborne, Concrete Genie, Days Gone, Death Stranding, and the Director's Cut, Demon Souls, Destruction All Stars, which is from 2 years
It's
ago or
weird.
last year.
Last year, yeah.
Ghost of
It's a PS5
Tsushima,
game, yeah.
God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Infamous, First Light and Second Son.
Yeah, I feel like
Uh,
those games are like those should be noteworthy because those were really great games that just never got recognition for.
the best PlayStation game ever, Knack. Um, Little Big Planet
Is that
3.
sarcasm?
There is a Knack story here, which I don't think we're gonna get to.
Isn't it an
They
Xbox game?
no, it's a PlayStation game. It was that one game that was like okay, like the received. They're like reviewed. It was like it's a whatever game. Um, but Sony recently filed a new trademark for Knack. So there
Oh.
might be another Knack coming out.
Oh god.
uh,
Medieval? Oh my god.
yep.
Yes.
Little Big Planet
Spider-Man's
3.
standard issue.
Both Spider-Man games, Loco Roco games. I didn't realize they were on PS4. Loco Roco Remastered. These are PSP games that, you know what, you should play.
Listen, if they're
Patapon.
free, yeah.
Apparently Patapon was also released on PS4. Okay, both Patapon, first two Patapon games remastered on PS4.
Shadow of the Colossus, good
Shadow of the
game, good
Colossus,
game.
love that game.
Last
Last
Guardian, if you
Guardian,
want to rage, definitely get it.
Last of Us remastered, and Left Behind DLC.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah. That
Until
was you know what,
Dawn.
Last of Us, pretty good game. Until Dawn, I really want to play it.
Hmm.
Now that it's going to be free, I feel like I'll play it then
Uh,
because that's like a game like Detroit Become Human, I think, but a
I
little
think
bit
so. Yeah.
more spooky and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
Detroit Become Human's such a good game. Where is it on this list?
it's not on here
Because
yet.
it didn't come out for Xbox, bro. Such a good game.
It is
I'm
out
always
on
like, I live
PC
over
though.
there. I used to live on that side. This is a photo
uh,
we would take from where I'm from.
yeah, exactly. the the
On all of the Uncharted's, of
the
course.
protagonist escaped to where I live right now.
Yeah, yeah. Right. If you make the right decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, Uncharted 4, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy, and Wipeout Omega collection. If you like racing games, I love Wipeout, so definitely give that a try. Third party partners, Assassin's Creed Valhalla with 3 asterisks. Why? This
What
is
now?
it might be like a streaming thing, so it might not be
Or
available
yeah.
on certain markets.
Okay.
Batman Arkham Knight, Celeste,
Control, but Control's already been free on
Yeah.
like the PlayStation Store a whole bunch of times. Dead Cells,
Yeah.
yeah. Far
City
Cry,
Skylines,
obviously.
which you can play a 1 hour trial for on Stadia right now. I
You know
just
what?
mentioned that in my video.
Final Fantasy Royal Edition, yeah. Final Fantasy Royal Edition might replay that.
Okay.
Great game, but I don't think I ever played the Royal Edition.
Far Cry
Uh,
3 and 4. Dead Cells.
Hollow Knight, need to play that. Apparently, it's a really good game.
For Honor.
Red Dead Redemption 2. Fuck yeah! I can finally not start bar fights for no apparent reason. Whenever people buy the game, I'm like, yeah, it's a really fun game. They're like, oh, you played it? I'm like, very briefly. Started a bar fight, choked a bartender, didn't mean to, went back, shot her in the face with a shotgun. Like, completely unintentional.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Mortal Kombat 11, NBA 2K22, Outer Wilds, Resident Evil. Which one is that? The new Resident Evil? This is PS4.
They don't specify.
There is a Resident Evil on PS4 that is just called Resident Evil. Okay. Yeah, so the Crew 2 and the Division, not the Division 2, just the original Division. Okay. So yeah, those are the PS4 and PS5 games to get. Here's the classic games catalog for PlayStation Plus Premium and Flash Deluxe. So this is
It's like it's a GameCube game? Resident Evil? No way. That's
no,
false.
Resident Evil 4 was GameCube.
Yeah.
Weird. So these are, so if you're on the deluxe plan, you don't get the PS3 games. But yeah, this is for both of those. Classic games catalog for the original PlayStation and PSP. You get
Hot Shots. Let's
Hot
fucking
Shots
go!
Golf for the original PlayStation, Ape Escape, Siphon Filter, and some more.
Gotta say, Hot Shots Golf, like my dad is like definitely a gamer when it comes to that game. And like to a point where I still say quotes from that game where you like someone's doing something, you go, careful. Because whenever you go to hit it, they go, careful. It's just like, so every time I go to say that, I just abruptly say careful. Okay, and no one understands the reference because it's Hot Shots.
So these are original PlayStation games. Now there's a classic games catalog remasters. So I'm guessing these are
Dark Cloud, fuck those games. Stupidest, lamest.
But these are remakes of, these are remasters of classic games on PS4. That's what they're listing as.
Gross.
So Ape Escape 2, no. Hot Shots Tennis, Jack 2, Jack 3.
Arc the Lad, Twilight of Spirits. I have that game for PS2. I have it physically, so I can still play it. I don't have to wait for this. Arc the Lad.
Oh, Arc the Lad.
Bro,
okay, yeah.
Such a good game. Such a good game. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
Yeah. Jack 2, 3, and X Combat Racing. Jack and Daxter Precursor Legacy.
And then Wild Arms. Heard that those games are pretty good.
Yep.
Lego Harry Potter Collection.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
BioShock Remastered. Yeah, and then PS3 games via streaming.
All right. All the infamous
Demon
games,
Souls.
Ratchet and Clank.
Isn't this
the original? That's the original one. That's the original one.
Yeah, but that just got remade for the PS5, right?
It's different for the PS5, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it. Yeah, I think they. Yeah, right. And that's the thing, like, because my buddy he played Demon Souls, and like the one for the PS5 is different, but it's basically along the same. It's like another Dark Souls game.
Everybody's snobbish response to me on console exclusives in regards to Demon Souls has put me off from ever playing a Souls game. I don't care anymore. Like you made me not want to play it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, because that's like the people who play these games are apparently the same ones who have the attitude of you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to play them.
It is the same kind of game.
Yeah.
It's like, and again, and this is why when people ask me about Elden Ring, that I'm like, they're like, oh, but I don't like a Souls game. I'm like, but the thing is, what Elden Ring did differently was that they made the difficulty optional, and they made it so that they could broaden their horizons of the amount of people that can play their game. to probably make more money. So they made it so that there is
Mhm.
basically like an easy mode.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, if you want to be frustrated and to be mad, all like because people I apparently get off on being just
I
really
know. I
pissed
don't
off
get
all the
it.
time, play those games, and it's like it's like the not like I don't know I would call it meta, but it's like there's a niche market of people that like to constantly replay the same thing until they
Mhm.
perfect the opponent's every single move,
I
so they
mean,
know it
yeah.
basically off by
I
heart.
mean,
It's
I'm
like
like
playing
that.
DDR.
Yeah.
But in well, with swords and death. So, like,
Well, I'm like that.
you learn the sequence and you learn it and you perfect it and you memorize it and stuff like that, and then it's easy.
Mhm.
But, like and there's a niche market where people thrive on that, like, they love it. I'm just like, "Bro, just fucking play
Yeah.
GDR, maybe you'll be a little bit
Speedrunners and
happier."
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly, like speedrun and that's why, like, I tried to get into speedrunning and I couldn't because you know, I am a one-time person where if I don't make my run the first time, I'm not
mhm.
gonna play it over and over and over and over and over again and put myself through that to get better because
Yeah.
I get so bored so fast. And that was why I appreciated Metroid Dread, but not my kind of game. Like the fact that I had to again memorize and understand every little movement from the boss
Yeah.
for me to know how to react takes away from the gameplay for me,
Yeah.
and that's just not fun. Like, it's just memorizing an AI, and it's just, like,
Well,
it's just whatever.
I'm like that. I do like a lot of games like that. But to an extent. Like
Yeah,
if it's just impossibly hard for the sake of being hard, where I'm just not having a
yeah,
good time,
yeah,
I'm like I don't want to play this anymore.
yeah.
But if I'm
Like,
having
Sekiro
fun
was like
doing
that
it, then
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Sekiro was kinda funny in a way, but, like, I remember we actually had a guy come into work, and he's like, "I can you guys help me?" We're like, "Yeah, what do you need help with, man?" And he's like, "Okay, I'm playing Sekiro, and I'm facing this boss, and I don't know how to beat him." And the one coworker of mine who's played it, he's like, the minute that you do, man, it's gonna be the most rewarding thing ever." He's like, "But I don't know how to beat him." He's like, "You just gotta keep playing him, man." Like, and I feel like that guy didn't
Yeah.
understand that you had to die a trillion
Yep.
times to beat this other
Mm.
person, and it's like, and I remember playing Dread and just being so bored with having to face the same
It's a
person,
shame.
yeah, over and over just to understand their movements. Give
Mm.
it 3 times max. Like, let's be honest, Bomber or King, like what's his the Bomber King in Bomber's Field of Mario 64 does the same move. He changes it up once, where he's a little bit quicker turning around, but then
The
you
first
instantly
boss?
find out, yeah, the very
Okay.
first boss.
Okay,
You
yeah.
go in, yeah, you go in. You're like, wow, I can get around you really quickly, grab you, throw you. Okay, you're like, I understand how to defeat you, but then suddenly he's a little bit faster that second time, but then you figure out how to get around him and you do it 2 more times, he's dead. Satisfactory, everyone wins. You can continue on in the game and enjoy the story, and it is a good time for everyone.
For me, the games that I gave up on were Super Meat Boy and N plus
Yeah.
plus. And I'm like, I just keep dying over and over again, no matter what I
Yeah.
do. And I'm like, that's this.
Yeah. Honestly, like, well, even Eastward, where like there was a metagame to it where I had to figure out how to understand the boss and then know how to defeat them. But then the thing is that it wasn't just up to, like, like in some games like Zelda, they're like, hey, you got this boomerang,
Hmm.
you might need it for this boss, just saying. Oh, you can't hit it with anything else but the boomerang. Well, good thing you have it. Like, it's like, you know but with Eastward,
Did you crash? Did I lose court?
I'm still here.
You're still
I
here.
think,
Okay.
just like give
Yeah,
me a
you
minute.
froze
Yeah,
for a
there I am.
moment.
I'm back. But like they give you an arsenal of different weapons and stuff like that, some more powerful than others. But like you had to kind of you could probably beat them in different ways, but it didn't take you having to metagame that. But then you could be like, okay, well, this is going to be a lot more effective than this way. And there was only one time with the one boss where I was like, I can't seem to beat him. and then I watched a video and the guy used a gun, and I was like, oh, I was using a flamethrower because it just seemed like it had done a little bit more damage. But I
Mm.
was like, I'll just use my gun instead. And then that made it like a lot easier. But that one was like, I would die a couple of times, but then I would kind of but then you catch on, you're like, okay, I understand how this is done. And then it's about you getting better, but it doesn't take 50 to 60 times of you figuring that out and then you to try and perfect it. Like it needs to be minimal for me to like appreciate it,
Mm-hmm.
and then to still feel like a reward at the end of it. Like if you make me do it 60 times, like when I beat that boss in Metroid Dread after dying like how many times, and then I finally beat it, I was like, this is the first boss, so I have to do this to like other fucking
Yeah.
bosses too? Like this is dumb. I don't want to I don't want to do with any of it. Like, So I was like, I appreciate it, but like no, but like with Eastward, like you did have to like you did die, and you had to learn how to um know how to heal, know how to upgrade your stuff, and like you had to really look into that kind of stuff and then apply it, and then you still died, but then you had to get to it was within a shorter period of time where it didn't lose my interest. So I
Mhm.
appreciated that, and to me that's good gameplay. So
All right,
that's my opinion on it.
let's wrap up this PlayStation Plus stuff though.
Yeah.
Because I do want to mention there are some good games listed here for PS3 if you are in the market where you can stream PS3 games.
Yeah.
So there's the Hot Shots golf games, Ico, Infamous 2, Infamous Festival Blood. I don't even know what that is. Festival of Blood.
Whoa.
Uh, there's the MotorStorm games, which I miss. I wish they would keep making those, but it doesn't look like that's
So
gonna
those third
happen.
parties. Devil May
Uh,
Cry. Excellent.
Ratchet and Clank
Sorry, I'm
games.
like
Yeah,
ahead
I
of you.
know. There's Ratchet and Clank games, and then yeah, third party partners, Devil May Cry collection, Fear.
Fear were
Wow.
good games. Ninja Gaiden Sigma, those were good games too. Castlevania, oh hell yeah.
Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare.
Ooh.
And then time limited game trials. I don't know if these are really worth mentioning.
Cyber,
But
why is that a time trial? You're only
because
allowed to
it's a newer
complain about
game.
it for the
This
first
this
like
is yeah, this is gonna be the difference between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. Is the newer games you're gonna be able to play on Game Pass, and you'll have to wait on PlayStation Plus.
Interesting.
Um. So yeah, that's essentially PlayStation Plus. I will mention this. There's this rumor, like we did mention Ubisoft Plus rumored for Game Pass. It's also rumored to be coming to PlayStation. Now, this doesn't
Oh,
mean PlayStation Plus. This just means you'll be able to play Ubisoft Plus games on a PlayStation platform.
no way.
Right
Legendary
now,
Fishing, sign me up.
right now you can play Ubisoft Plus on PC, Amazon Luna, and Stadia. I don't know if there's any other platforms where you can play Ubisoft Plus. I don't think that is the case.
Mm,
But the rumor is that not only would it come to Xbox, but it will be a part of Game Pass. Here it's just saying that if you have the service, you can play it on PlayStation. So that's interesting.
okay.
There is we've been talking about PlayStation in a positive light, but I don't think we'd be doing our due diligence. Sorry, can't speak today.
Due
But,
diligence.
yeah, without mentioning that
Yes.
8 more women alleged sexual
Yes.
harassment
This
and
is I
discrimination
told
at
you about
PlayStation
this.
maker
I
Sony.
told you about this. This was basically I remember asking a former person that worked for the company, and I was like, "So, like anything like hot goss?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, like just like all these like sexual harassment cases that are just being pushed under the
Yeah.
rug." And I was like, "Oh my god, Till, guess what?" Like,
Yeah, 8 former and
because
current Sony Interactive Entertainment employees have accused the PlayStation maker of sexism, according to court documents filed Tuesday.
yep,
This
they're next,
was
man, they're
March 9th.
next.
Um, yeah, former security analyst Emma Majo filed a lawsuit against Sony for gender discrimination and wrongful termination in November 2021. Seeking a class action status to include other employees impacted by sexism at the company. Sony filed to dismiss the complaint, citing a lack of specifics that prove, quote, widespread intentional discrimination, unquote. I don't know. This is a
I think
huge
it's just
article
about
here.
yeah.
That's not the worst of it. I think.
No.
Here's where our
He
intro.
he paid or I don't know if you can find it, but I think he paid some, or they was found out that he had an underage like escort or something like that of a young male that they pushed under the rug as well. I'm pretty sure. That could be. I'm not unless we can find
What?
actual proof of that. Like that could be. Yeah, like I remember hearing about that from somebody that I know, that there was like yeah. But I don't. But again, I don't think it's anything that's out there because they've been like pushing it under the rug and stuff like that. So unless we can actually find solid proof, like I remember hearing something like that. So don't take my word as any sort of truth or validity. But it's like I'm pretty sure there was something along those lines, and this person was underage, and it was something that was they were like, let's not fucking talk about this.
Nothing that
So
I see mentioned within this article.
no, at least well, no,
So,
but like, yeah,
okay, well,
yeah, that yeah, we'll have to figure. So don't, unless we have proof, don't take any of this seriously from us.
yeah. But here's where the podcast intro comes into play.
Is it the kitty cat's abortion?
Yeah.
Oh no.
So Sony PlayStation staff. This might be a paid article. Actually, no, it's loading fine. Okay. Sony PlayStation staff fume over CEO's abortion comments. Oh no.
No.
Yeah, this might be a paid thing.
Oh no.
So Sony staff, or some staff at Sony, are seething following an email from the head of PlayStation that urged employees to respect differences of opinion on abortion rights before entering into 5 detailed paragraphs about his 2 cats' first birthday. The email
What?
opens up. I know, it's as weird as it sounds. The email opens by addressing several current events, including the recent leak of a draft U.S. Supreme Court opinion that signaled an intention to overturn the landmark 1973 case Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion nationwide. Many corporations have felt pressure from employees to comment on the case, but most video game companies have remained silent on the matter. Yeah,
Except
except for Sony, apparently.
yeah.
Bungie was
No, Bungie. It was Bungie. It was Bungie that was like,
yeah,
no.
which I think I shared some responses with
You
you.
did, where they were like, "You're just a video game company," and they're like, "You're a toaster."
Yeah, because his profile image was a toaster.
I'm like, touche. But it's bro. Like this is okay. Like my
I want
biggest.
to see the actual email because the email was so ridiculous.
It's I don't know. Like I feel like everyone should weigh in on this because part of me is like women should be weighing in on this because it's our fucking bodies and I like and that's the biggest thing is like when it comes to these like abortion, God for fucking bid, let a man make a decision for a woman's body and it's like where do you think you even start to have the right, and I mean, like we're opening it's a whole can of worms when it comes to people's opinions on abortion and like the pro life. I'm just like, what it don't know can't hurt it. Like, and it's just like pro choice and there's so many factors into it and the reasoning behind
Not really.
these like reason behind, why we shouldn't be pro life. It's about pro choice because ultimately it's like there's so many different factors and you don't know where anyone's coming from. And a lot of the arguments that I like is that like these protesters like, well, like, are you gonna support the child if I have it? Because I can't. So you're wanting me to keep this child, like, are you gonna be able to support it then? Well, no, I have my own family. Like, well, then go fuck yourself.
Even
You know?
saying pro-life, I think is problematic.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's the appropriate phrasing, and
It's
it makes you say
it's
like,
you trying to control someone else.
yeah, exactly,
When you
because
yeah. And
because the way that you said
you
it,
don't
like
have a right.
you're saying like you're not pro-life, it makes you seem like, oh, I'm a monster, when that's not the case. Like,
No, I'm not. I'm making a logical decision
yeah,
based on circumstances that are out of my control.
hmm
But the only one thing I do have control of is my body and what
and
I do with it.
a lot of these cases where people are take this stance vehemently and say I'm pro-life, up until the point that that child is born, and then they can just fuck off, according to
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
because
It's yeah.
you shouldn't have child support, you shouldn't like who cares who's taking care of the child, or up for adoption, um just like most recently in the US there's the baby formula shortage, and there
Yeah.
was the vote to, provide funding to get more formula,
Yeah.
to produce more. And every single one of those politicians who are saying that they're pro-life voted against it. So it's like, are you really pro-life? Because these are children that are
That's
actually born that need life-saving formula to live,
bro.
and you're abandoning them. So
Yeah.
yes, the whole pro-life thing is a scam.
Doesn't make any
It's just a phrasing to, again, make you feel like, make you seem like monsters, saying like, I don't believe in life. And that's not what the case is at all.
it's so fucked up. It's so weird and it's so
Mhm.
fucked up and it's like you know, and like even like it's just it's so frustrating.
Mhm.
And you know, these people are like, oh well, like, you know, if you get pregnant, then like you should have taken responsibility. I'm like, there are other circumstances that doesn't come down to that.
Yeah.
Like it becomes like not your choice, but then suddenly you're forcing me to make the
Yeah.
choice into having this child of a rapist, like
Yeah.
that, or like of a fam. Like it's just there's so much shit that
And there's
like comes into play, or like, you know, when you're young and like and then mistakes happen and then you can't support it and stuff like that, and it's just and it's
yeah.
like
And
you're
the
what
argument
if
is, like, the ones that they always bring up is the late term abortions. And it's like, that's such a fringe, extreme, rare case where it's
if
like,
I can squish it with my hand, it doesn't matter. I'm the apex predator, motherfucker.
but it's
Like,
like,
but it's like,
that's
you know,
that's such a non-issue when you're talking
yeah.
about the bigger picture.
If
Um,
anything, like they should focus on safe abortions where it doesn't come down to late abortions, where you know it like with it's within a certain time period, and it can be safe
or
and consensual, but it's like
or let a woman do whatever the fuck she wants.
yeah, like, and this is that's the thing too, is that like, where do these people think that they because like the whole pro life thing is basically you having the right over someone else's
Mhm.
body, and that's not cool.
Yeah.
Like that's like being like, oh well, no, like because now this is happening, like you're under law that I now have control over your body and you can't do this. Like, well, no,
Mhm.
like it's my body, my choice. You know,
I
like
can't
fuck
wait.
off. Like,
I can't wait
yeah,
for the comments.
yeah,
Anyways,
oh my god,
uh,
yeah, right.
in the I don't have
You
the
know.
email in front of me, but I just want to read this. It says, in the email seen by Bloomberg, PlayStation president Jim Ryan didn't take a stance on abortion rights, instead writing that the company and its community are multifaceted and diverse, holding many different points of view. He wrote that we owe it to each other and to PlayStation's millions of users to respect differences of opinion among everyone in our internal and external communities. Respect does not equal agreement, but it is fundamental to who we are as a company and as a valued global brand. He then went on to write that he would like to share something lighthearted to help inspire everyone to be mindful of
Oh
having balance
no,
that can
my
help ease the
cats.
stress of uncertain world events, saying it was recently his two cats' first birthday and elaborating over the next few paragraphs about his cat's birthday cakes, their noises, and his desire to one day get a dog. Like
He's a
how fucking
storyteller.
tone deaf do you have to be?
Yeah, I feel like he's just like, here's a joke. Like, it's just, oh, bro, like
Yeah, what here
like,
one employee said
you know,
they've never been so mad about a cat birthday before.
10 out of 10, the best response. It's just like, the thing is like, when you, it's okay. So I'll say this, and the best antagonists, the best villains,
Mhm.
have the most absurd and like, oh fuck, what was it? Oh, there was an actual quote when it comes to like villains and stuff like that, but it's like, um they're they have the best reason that they believe, or they have the worst reason that they believe 100% is the truth. Those make the best villains, where they believe in something so awful, but they believe that it is the absolute truth. And I'll say that about pro-lifers. They are the villains that believe in something so
Yeah,
awful
they
that
make
they
it seem
believe that
like
is that is the absolute truth.
they make it seem like oh, what are we doing this weekend? Oh, we go see a movie and then maybe later to just go get an abortion for fun, like
Yeah, as if like, and
like
like, but the thing is, and like, that's the thing, is like, those people aren't in the person's shoes. Like, they are
Mhm.
so
Oh yeah, yeah.
unempathetic. They have no
Yeah,
idea.
even the responses is like people are like, yeah, I had to get an abortion last year or whatever, and then people are like, oh, so you're a child murderer, and it's like, calm down,
I'd be
like
like,
you don't
I'll
know
be
the
a person
situation.
murderer if you
Yeah.
fucking at me, bro. Like, I'll find where you
Yeah.
live, and I'll up the ante. Like, don't at me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll come for you next.
I've been seeing a lot of
Like,
that on Twitter lately, so it's
yeah,
really
it's just like,
disheartening.
yeah, and like, and again, the best villains are the ones who believe the worst things are the most right.
Hmm.
And that
Very
makes a
true.
good story. It
Hmm.
makes the best antagonist. It makes,
Yeah.
and so that's what I'll say about that situation.
And
You know.
sometimes you just want to ignore reality, which is the case for Reggie Fils-Aime when he worked at Nintendo.
Wait,
Um,
is he not there anymore? Is Reggie
no,
not there? Is
he's
Bowser not there?
he's been away from Nintendo for a long time. But he says there's been a Kotaku report from about worker exploitation at Nintendo. And his response
Oh,
is, "This isn't the Nintendo that I left," with some more
wow.
details and descriptions.
How
But
long was he with the company for?
yeah, but here's the thing: you were the president of Nintendo America.
Hmm.
Um, so you were at the top, man. Like
America, splat splat.
how how in how detailed and in the weeds were you with the people lower at the company who were
Yeah.
experiencing this? Like, I just feel like, hey, this isn't the Nintendo that I left. No, you were just ignorant
Yeah, this is
at that point.
because
This
you
makes
didn't
you
know
sound
any
ignorant.
better.
Yeah.
You didn't know any better. You were like,
Like, how would you
"Oh,
know? Did
it
you
seemed fine."
did you did you talk to these workers? Did you
No, but
have any sort
they
of
left good
awareness?
reviews. They
Like
seem happy to see me.
like
Like, yeah.
even then, like you gotta take a step back and then realize what question is being asked here and what your role was, and have some sort of reflection before
Yeah.
making this sort of response. I think that was handled poorly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm not saying Reggie's in the wrong here and saying like he is responsible or a result of what's going on, but I feel like that was just a bad
Bro,
response.
bring back. Oh, remember that one? I think was it TLC where it was like bosses work like at like the base level of the jobs that they owned basically, or like what they were like. You remember, for example, Good Life was one of them,
Hmm.
where the COO worked as a just like a fitness consultant or whatever, and they had to kind of go through like what a day would look like just as a one of the like base level entry level people. And I remember the showers had cold water and they're like, oh, they complain, well, oh well, like we can send out a tech, but like, they won't get back to us. And then she was like on the phone, she's like, you fucking send someone right fucking now to get hot water, like this is like we should be on this. And it was like this whole, like it was so interesting to kind of have like these CEOs go down to like the entry level of like the jobs that they were so high up on, and to know
Hmm.
like what is going on, and what you have to go through and what you have to deal with and stuff like that. And it was such a great show. It was so good. Like, where people are like, oh yeah, it's pretty awful here, like it's pretty shitty, like they treat us like shit, and the guy's like, this is not what I want to hear from
Yeah.
employees. Like I'm the CEO. Like why are these people being treated like shit? Like why do they feel this way? Like that's not good. And like it really like kind of changed that culture. And I feel like they need to do that again. Fucking TLC, where you at? Where you at? Bring back the show. Like, like they
uh,
need to do that with like the fucking gaming industry and be like, this is what you put your workers through, like on contracts, and
mhm,
what they have to go through on a regular basis with
yeah.
coordinators that don't have any idea what the fuck they're doing. And like, yeah, it's just chaos and fire.
Um, Court, do you want to talk about any of the games from the Nintendo Indie World Showcase?
No.
Okay. There's well, I feel like you wouldn't. Um, Fortnite's now playable on iOS again.
No, we're not talking about Fortnite.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
I'm just over it. But I can do a live reaction to the new Fire Emblem trailer.
Sure. This is I really
I'm
didn't
excited
want to.
for
I
that.
really didn't want to talk about Fortnite. It's more the larger implications here. It's just that I just think it's fascinating the story about how Fortnite or Epic Games in general is just banned from Apple because of their whole stance on the Apple Store. And
Yeah, I
um
remember that.
yeah, so Xbox has been trying to get, more into cloud gaming. They have their cloud streaming through mobile through Game Pass.
Hmm.
So they're like, well, we can make like Fortnite streaming for free through Game Pass. And not only that, free without requiring Game Pass. Like it's just free for everyone. You just go to xbox.com/gaming and you play it for free. And they're saying that there's going to be more like this. So
Wow.
so you can play
Like
Fortnite.
just shit on fucking
Yeah,
Apple
you
over
can
there.
play you can play Fortnite on mobile right now without having to go to the App Store. You just go to a web browser. You go to Safari and then you just type in that website and you're playing. You don't have to
Wow.
download or install anything. And this I think that's an
That's the
interesting
future.
move, and it's I'm interested to see where that goes, like beyond Fortnite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, competitively, I don't think like a whole lot of anywhere, but just being able to play it and like have it so readily available and stuff, like
Mhm.
definitely, especially like yeah, it's definitely like a big shit on for Apple. Be like, no, we're not doing this. They're
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah, well, we're gonna put that in our back pockets, and then you'll see, you'll
Okay,
see.
I will load up the trailer here, but I will have it muted.
Oh no, so I have to watch it.
Well, have you already seen it or no?
I haven't. No, this is
Oh, well,
brand new
I
to
don't
me,
know how to
man.
share audio with you.
Okay, I will play it on my own, but we'll play it at the same time.
Okay. Oops,
Okay.
I'm in the wrong scene here. Sorry.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Hold on.
I was
It's
in
only
I
a
was in
minute
our
and
hit
22
pause
seconds.
MCU scene here. Okay. Let me know when to hit play. And I'll hit play.
Okay. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, go. I'm excited.
Oh, I still have it here, but
This is Edelgard. Everyone mistakes it for Analgard. Hubert, which is a very popular voice actor.
This is my stage. Even the most beautiful rose has thorns. Have you realized that yet? You look amazing even when you're fighting people, Dorothea. No one's gonna call me Bernie Bear again.
I am Ferdinand von Eyre.
Fuck you, Ferdinand von Eyre. Stop saying your goddamn fucking
Such is
name.
the cost of war. Follow my lead.
Nothing can stop me.
Casper.
Unless you bring my father to the fight.
Casper, yeah.
You ready to do this, Petra?
More Caspar. You and I will demolish them.
They look so different. Oh my
In the name
god.
of Bridget.
Also, the quality is not great. I don't know what's with my internet lately,
As long as that's all
Oh
you
no.
want.
because my internet's
Leonard!
perfectly fine. It's just
This fight is on.
videos have been like downgraded. I don't know why.
Behold, a token effort.
Cool.
Right. So
From
that was
Koei Tecmo?
the... What?
It's developed by Koei Tecmo or published by Koei Tecmo.
I guess so.
I just
Maybe
I
that's
just know
why
that
it's-
logo.
It's so good. But yeah, no, it's like that one was like the Black Eagles. So like they just did all the other trailers for Blue Lions, Golden Deer, and then that was the Black Eagles. But yeah, so with Fire Emblem Three Hopes, I don't know if you guys have ever played Warriors, but it's kind of like Hyrule Warriors in a way.
It
like, you're
looked
just-
similar.
Yeah, I think it's like that. I've never played Fire Emblem Warriors before, but I have played Hyrule Warriors. Wasn't a huge fan of it. Age of Calamity, enjoyed that. Never finished that game, ironically enough. And again, this
Hmm.
is why I'm like, I bought it digitally so I can never trade it in, even though I'll probably never finish it. But it's like I'm so excited just to kind of like see like the new gameplay and everyone. But it's like the story is going to be interesting because it's a different protagonist,
Mhm.
and the person that you played in Three Houses is now apparently the antagonist. So super excited, excited to see the new Fire Emblem game,
Nice.
which comes out June something.
So soon.
Yeah, super soon next month. Yeah, super
I've never
stoked.
played any Fire Emblem games.
And Mario
so-
Strikers.
Mario Strikers soon too. Yeah.
Yes!
Which
Oh
I
my
think
God,
is
so
gonna be. I think it's gonna be out before Summer Game Fest. So that's probably
June
not gonna
10th.
be
Comes out
June 10th. Yeah. So and realistically, Nintendo will probably have a direct, on, like after Microsoft's showcase. So on that Tuesday or Wednesday probably. So I doubt we're gonna see anything involving Mario Strikers. So it's gonna be other games. I had some trailers I wanted to watch here that I'm just gonna play
Alright.
muted in the background here.
Alright.
Multiverses.
Of course.
I'm excited for this.
Let me. I
Uh,
need to know about this game. It's fine.
It's it's a you know
Where did
there's
I
there's
go?
yeah
Oh.
there's Smash Bros clones all over the place now, which
Yeah.
I am thankful for. I think that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
it's-
I'm
I
surprised
think
it
it's
hasn't
so
happened
great.
earlier.
Yeah.
But we had the Nickelodeon game, which is on sale on
my
Switch right now
God.
for $20. Should I buy it for that much?
Do it.
Okay.
Is that Pocahontas?
No, that's a Game of Thrones character.
Oh, is that
uh,
Arya?
Yeah. And then this is Bugs
Oh,
Bunny,
Bugs Bunny?
Batman, Shaggy.
So yeah, so random.
It's not random.
What?
It's Warner Brothers characters because this is who's
It's
publishing
random.
it. It's Warner Brothers games. So
Oh
yeah,
my God.
this is any Warner Brothers property you can think of. They might have some
Harry
sort of
Potter?
representation in this game. Probably. We'll
my
probably see
God.
some Harry Potter characters in this. But yeah, DC characters are
That's a Tasmanian devil.
yeah,
Who the
Tasmanian
fuck's
Devil.
that?
This is this is Jake the
Adventure
Duck.
Time.
Yeah.
And whoever the fuck.
I can't think of the show's name right now, but it's a popular kids show. But yeah,
Like Gravity Falls.
and there's Harley Quinn.
Yeah, Harley Quinn,
Of course,
obviously.
of course, she would love Taz.
Oh my
Steam
god,
Tiger.
he's destructive. She's like, I love
Tom
you.
and Jerry.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is gonna actually be a free to play game.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I know that the Nickelodeon game got really bad reviews, and maybe I'll buy it this weekend and try it out and see how it is.
Yeah.
They recently
That
had a
guy is
trailer
basically
for
Kirby.
yeah, pretty much. They recently had a trailer for new DLC, actually, the Nickelodeon ones, with some additional characters. I can't remember who the characters were. Yeah, there's Superman here, and
Obviously.
Iron Giant right next to Superman.
No way.
Yeah, this
I
game's gonna be
remember
awesome.
that movie. Oh my god.
Yeah, free to play, open beta, July 2022. Wonder Woman's there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Velma.
What's his face? Steven
Yeah, Steven Universe. Yeah.
Adventure Time. Velma,
Mhm.
Taz, Adventure Time, Tom and Jerry. Yeah. Okay.
Also, this like little dog thing, this green dog here, with like.
With the Adventure Time guy, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that's a new character specifically for this game. I don't know if that's true.
Oh.
So they made that a unique character for this game. But yeah, closed beta begins May 19th, which is already passed. So, it's gonna be on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Steam. I'm just gonna play the game when it comes out. I'm not gonna sign up for the beta or anything.
Yeah.
There's one more announcement here. Which,
yeah, it's getting. I'm like, bro. I'm like, it's like cutting late for you, man.
We're gonna end it here. Yeah, well, I'm not doing anything tomorrow.
Same. I thought I had a dentist appointment, and I don't.
I thought I was going to my parents.
Sonic.
I thought I was going to my parents tomorrow, but apparently that's Monday. So I'm.
Right on.
I'm just gonna chill tomorrow. So this is Sonic Origins. So play the games. So it's a bunch of the old games in the collection.
I already have those for GameCube.
Yeah, but these are like fully remastered, so you're getting the full widescreen and everything.
Okay.
So,
bro, Sonic 2 on Knuckles, bro. I mean, yeah, they should. You know what? They need to bring back and remake, or I don't even think they would have to remake because it was so ahead of its time. But the Dreamcast Sonic.
So I never had any Sega stuff. I have an emulation PC right now, so I'm like going through some older games. So I'll need to check that out. But I've played Sonic 2. I played those games a lot. So
yeah. I mean, like, I never was able to perfect it. Again, I feel like it was like a Metroid Dread game where you had to really learn the level and like know and where to go and what to do. But I feel like they should really bring back like the GameCube games or not GameCube, Dreamcast, because Sonic I don't know, Dreamcast was so ahead of its time.
Give me some send me some Dreamcast games I need to check out.
Okay.
And
first of all, Sonic. There is what was it? Old Games Download. Okay. There is a website called Old Games Download, and it has.
You're telling everybody how to pirate right now on our
No, it's not. It was on TikTok. It's fine. It's legal.
Oh, I might have seen the same TikTok.
Yeah, and it's like there's like Chicken Run and stuff like that.
Website though.
Let's see.
I think it was at shoot. What did he say?
Sonic Heroes was. I think it was. What was the Sonic game?
I favorited a TikTok recently that was like
Sonic Adventure.
Oh my emulation.online is the one that I saw.
Oh no, this one's just like Sonic.
Okay.
But
I don't know how legal
like
this
one
is.
might be a little bit.
So
this one might be a little bit too old. But like, bro, I found the fucking yours is illegal.
I don't know. Yeah, well, all of this is illegal, but this one apparently is. It just lists a bunch of games, and you should just be able to click on it, plug in a controller, and play without downloading anything. From the TikTok that I got sent.
Oh, this one for
So no
what's it?
download,
What is it?
no download necessary.
Yeah, I think it was like just Sonic Adventure was the game for Dreamcast, and it was so ahead of its time
Sonic
when it
Adventure,
came
yeah.
down. Yeah, when it came down to just graphics and stuff, and even Crazy Taxi was Dreamcast. And I remember there was the
I was
one
gonna
game
try that out
Bug.
today, but I didn't.
Yeah, but with old games download, I found, and it's a game I've been looking for, fucking Lego. The
Lego?
original Lego game, remember? You could get it for
Maybe.
Microsoft, and it was the one with the pizza delivery.
Was not. I think that was on PlayStation and N64.
It was Lego
as well.
Island.
Yeah, Lego Island. Yeah. I
Yeah,
played that one.
that was the one. Yeah, no, I was never able. I have it. I think I already have it downloaded. But yeah, Lego Island, and I remember my computer would always crash at a certain point,
I think
so I
I
could never beat it.
I think I played that one on PS1.
What? It was for the PlayStations?
I think it was
But
on
yeah, I had a
PlayStation and N64 as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember being the pizza delivery guy, but it would always crash for my PC whenever I got to a certain point. And that was like a thing too, like that would happen with a lot of the games, is that they would just crash. Like even I remember I bought a reboot character, which was Frisco, the dog.
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, go to this website. You can do this quiz to get a free toy if you get all the answers right. And no matter what you chose, there would always be an answer that would be like, it would send you to a website to put in your credit card information and stuff like that. And you could never, and I was like, wow, like I'll never get this fucking mech ever in my entire life, because that wasn't a thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, and it would always get crashed, but it had like mini games and stuff like that and like quizzes. But I could never play it. But yeah.
We had a lot of fun stories listed here that we were just not going to get to. I was gonna ask where you want to end on, but I feel like we should probably end it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will be back.
There's always so much that we never get to in these.
I know, and like look at these. There's Monkey Island's coming back. The Rock is producing.
I heard about that too. That's why someone made a joke about like the monkeypox. They're like, well, it's because the game's coming back, and I'm like, no, what the fuck?
Yeah. The Rock is producing an It Takes Two movie. Fall Guys is free, getting crossplay. Yeah.
Oh, bro.
EAN's FIFA partnership. There's like a lot of.
Yeah.
Capcom raising employee salaries. A lot of
very nice
stuff here. Also, someone I really wanted to talk about this. Someone got to play Advance Wars 1+2 on the original launch date. So it got delayed because of the Ukraine conflict.
Yeah.
But somebody had it like a pre-install for the launch date, and it just worked. So someone's like, I'm pretty sure I shouldn't be able to be playing this, but I'm playing Advance Wars right now. The tweet got deleted, but somebody actually had access to Advance Wars early on the Switch.
Yeah.
For at least a little while. So.
Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, that is it for us. We will be back. During the Summer Game Fest. Our schedule is up on our Twitter and our Twitch as well. So go check us out there. It's late, so we're just gonna go.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And have a good night, everyone.